We are brought to you by Boss Bears Supplements. That's Boss Bears Supplements at bossbears.co. Hard work, consistency, and determination are difficult to sustain when your mind and body can't keep up. Fuel your body with what it needs to perform like a boss. Whether you're closing deals, pitching a new business idea, or training in the gym, Boss Bears take your hustle to the next level. Our ingredients are the highest quality with potency and serving sizes that are the gold standard in the industry. Check out all of Boss Bears products at bossbears.co. They have apple cider vinegar gummies. They have ashwagandha. They have all kinds of supplements in delicious gummy form. They also have them in pill form if you don't want the gummies. I prefer the gummies. They are delicious, and I've tried the apple cider vinegar. They are very good. Use code Nicky at checkout to save 10%. That's bossbears.co, code Nicky. We are brought to you by Clout Power Supplements. That's KLOUTPWR.com. So here I have the protein, the Cravings protein from Clout. This one is the salted caramel. This is some of the best protein that I've ever had in my life. It's actually delicious. I like the salted caramel and the cinnamon swirl are my two favorites. Also, their pre-workouts are amazing. So they have the Karma Nootropic pre-workout. It's a nootropic and focused pre-workout. It's a lower stimulant formula, zero itch formula. It has 4 trademark ingredients, and has fully dosed ingredients. So far, the Arctic Cherry is probably my favorite of the Karma pre-workout. Also, try the Nero Aminos from them. And also the High Stimulant Mamba is some of my favorite too. And I really like the Arctic Cherry of that one. So go to cloutpower.com and use code Nicky to save 15%. KLOUTPWR.com. Code Nicky to save 15%. Okay, everybody, welcome to the Nicky Free Podcast. We are here with IFBB Bikini Pro. How do you say your first name? Tianna Weymouth. Mm-hmm. Okay, because I was saying Tianna the whole time, but it's Tianna. Okay.
It's like Princess Diana, because that's
how
Diana. I remember it.
Yeah. So Tianna Weymouth. Okay, yeah. Tianna Weymouth.
So just think of Diana.
Right. So, the whole time when I'm planning these podcasts, I'm seeing your name on Instagram, and I'm saying Tianna Weymouth. So now I have to get the other thing in my head, Tianna Weymouth. So, Tianna, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. And you said today was your rest day? Okay, that's cool. So you on your rest days, are you doing active rest day or are you just chilling?
I have cardio 5 days a week. And I choose Thursdays and Sundays, which are my rest days.
Yeah.
To just completely rest, because I like to go hard at the gym. So these are my days to actually regroup and everything.
Let your body heal and everything. Yeah, totally. No, that's a good plan, because a lot of people put their their cardio on their rest day or whatever. Yeah. So, Tianna, let's
Tianna.
How does it?
It's like Tianna.
Tianna.
Yeah.
So Diana. Tianna. Oh man, that's terrible.
It's okay.
I know. So Tianna. Tianna. How did you get into bikini competitions? what was your what led you to that?
So when I was 14, I was recovering from an eating disorder.
Oh, no.
My dad, because I was already mentally healed at that point. Right. And physically restored for the most part. So my dad was like, since you're ready to reincorporate exercise back into your life, why don't you try weightlifting? Because it's something new that you've never done before. So
really?
So then he took me to 24-hour fitness, and I saw this girl. Her name's Kara, and she was in prep for Emerald Cup, which is the local regional show here.
Okay.
And from there, I was just wow, that looks so cool. I want to get into that.
So just kind of seeing somebody else that was in it that you kind of looked up to was okay. And so the eating disorder, that seems like that would be really tough.
It I think it started when I was 11, and then it just like escalated, and it got really bad when I was like 13.
Oh, dang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's I have a friend of mine who
Mm-hmm.
is recovered from an eating disorder, and then she went to school for psychology,
Mm-hmm.
and now she helps people with eating
Yeah.
disorders. So I know that, they can be so dangerous too. Like,
Yeah.
people don't even have a clue. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, it can be just as dangerous being underweight as overweight.
Yeah.
Like,
And the mortality rate for eating disorders is really high
right,
as
it's
well.
actually like higher than, I
Obesity.
mean, obesity's high, but
Yeah.
like, I feel like, yeah, it's like, I think it's an unknown thing that
Mm-hmm.
being underweight is extremely dangerous.
Yeah, very.
And I know, like, I think now obesity has like overtaken
Mm-hmm.
those numbers or whatever. Like, somewhere in 2007 it switched, I think, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like, it's super dangerous being underweight. Was
Yeah.
that tough to come back from that?
Um, it was because what people like who haven't been through eating disorders don't really recognize is it's all mental. So it's not really like, it starts with physical appearance, but mentally it's like you can't stop. So it was like hard to change my habits, but like seeing my
Right.
body changed, that didn't bother me as much as like the lack of control that I had with like changing my like routine and everything.
Okay, because what the way that I understood it too is
Mm-hmm.
like, it's actually like a there's some kind of thing where like the reward system
Mm-hmm.
gets like, where like somebody that's gets hungry and they'll get a dopamine kick from basically like from smelling food and then eating,
Yeah.
where if you have an eating disorder sometimes it can be flipped where you actually get dopamine and serotonin from not eating.
Yeah, it stems from like just wanting control.
Right.
Cause like for me, I didn't have control over other aspects of my life, so I was just like, why don't I just control this part of my life so I can feel better?
So it was like this one thing that you could control.
Yeah, cause
Oh.
like I wanted to be like in the driver's seat. I wanted to just do everything myself.
And it was something you could control every aspect of it, like
Yeah.
every bit of food that goes in my mouth.
Mhm.
Like, so the recovery from that, was that
Yeah.
really hard? Did you have to go to a center or anything? And if you don't want to talk
Oh
about
no
any
no,
of
I'm
this,
so open about it.
like, okay, good, because it does help a lot of people.
Yeah, it does, and a lot of people struggle in silence with this. And so, like, for me, I refused recovery, and this is not the route that I recommend, but this is like, so I told my parents, I said, I do not want to go to recovery. I will not go.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, like, I don't recommend doing that. So my mom and my dad were like, you know what? This is on you. You brought this upon yourself, so it's going to be up to you to get yourself out of this situation. Like, we're going to take you to the doctors for checkups, and you're going to have weekly weigh-ins, but the only person that can make you better is yourself. That's
Right.
what my mom told me. So then from there, I was just like, yeah, like, going to recovery, I knew that I would want to rebel because I wouldn't be in the driver's seat. So I was just like,
Yeah.
if I really want to get better, you can't change what you don't acknowledge. So I was just like, I need to acknowledge that what I'm doing, it's so problematic. It's not who I am. Because, like, growing up, I had a really good relationship with food. And, like, I would eat anything, not even second guess anything.
Right.
So then it just kind of came out of nowhere. So I just was like, I need to find myself again and, like, reevaluate what I'm doing and if it's actually going to benefit me.
That is interesting that you say it was like almost rebellious, because I
Yeah.
know like that is what it is like when some people are trying to help you
Mm-hmm.
sometimes.
That's why some people relapse and have to go back because it's like you're constantly being put in this place where it's like people are watching your every move, like monitoring what you do, what you say, what you eat, and it's like you just do what they say so you can get out and then go back to your normal habits, but then you're put back into it. So like that's why I knew if I went to rehab or like recovery, I knew I wouldn't, like, I would have to go back because that's what I would do.
You had to decide to make the change for yourself.
Yeah, because it comes down to what you want to do. Because, like, all the help, all the support that's around you, it's meaningless unless you don't actually make use of, your mindset and everything.
Right. Yeah, I think that's how it is for like so many addictions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome that you were able to do that on your own, and now you're fully recovered.
Yes.
So
like everything, my past habits, I haven't done any of that since, like, I was 14.
And you have a totally healthy relationship with food. Yeah, that's so my friend who had an eating disorder, she's like that. I mean, she's very healthy. And she doesn't have any issues. She can eat what she wants. And it's pretty. How rare is a full recovery? Is it?
So honestly, when you have an eating disorder, it does stay with you for your whole entire life. Like
Right.
even though you can be recovered, you still have like those flashbacks or anything. So like to be 100% just like purified, I think that's very rare.
It's still something you're always like kind of
It's always
fighting
yeah.
against.
Like for me, I say I'm always recovered like in terms of like my mental health and like my relationship with food, but I still have like flashbacks of what I used to do and like
Right.
like over
So do you have
exercising
to like
and
fight that?
Yeah, in a way, because sometimes I tend to overtrain. I think more is better. Like for me, my coach, he has like a rep range that he wants me to fail in between, and sometimes I'm like, well, what if I do like 10 extra reps and like 2 extra sets, and it's like, nope, you gotta follow the plan. Like that's only
Yeah.
gonna hurt you in the long run. So I have to fight the urge to do that
Okay.
sometimes. But it's like, and then also I didn't know this, but I did research. OCD is like part of an eating disorder as well.
It makes sense actually. Yeah. So like it's like always wanting to do more and you think like
Yeah.
so then you're never going to really let your body get that chance to heal, right?
Exactly.
And that's where like half the benefits of working out come from is like
the rest.
they call it like sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, right? So
Yeah.
like if you never get into that parasympathetic, like your body never has a chance to and that's when it actually gets its shape and gets stronger is when it's like rebuilding itself. I think a lot of lifters, including myself, we have issue with that too.
Yeah.
Like you always feel like
You have to be doing something.
yeah, and like your rest day is like torture because you're like I'm a piece of shit. I'm not doing
Exactly.
anything. Like
No, you feel lazy and
Yeah.
unproductive, but it's just you kind of have to think of it as part of protocol, basically. And
so that
Yeah.
that helps with getting that structure, right? And so who's your coach now?
Nelson Jones,
Oh, okay. Yep. I've seen a lot of people have him as
he's
a coach.
the best coach ever.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty high praise. I know a lot of people have him as a coach, so he must be pretty good dude. So
Yeah.
so when you got into it, you said you met somebody that you kind of looked up to who did it?
Kara Kate.
Kara Kate.
She's local.
Okay,
She's
awesome.
in Washington.
And then she was like, "Hey, if you want to get into this, I can help you."
She, I kind of observed her at the gym. We never really talked, but because I worked with a trainer named Heath, and Kara was a fellow trainer at 24 Hour Fitness in Bellevue.
Okay.
So, like, I think we had a few conversations. I don't remember because I was 14, but I
Right.
just remember, like, looking up to her and, like, talking to Heath about her, and Heath would be like, well, you should compete one day. Like, you'd be good at it, blah, blah, blah.
And so that start kind of like getting in your head, like, maybe I could do that.
From there, I was just like, this, like, I don't know why, but it kind of, like, sparked this, like, fire in me, and I was just like, I feel like I have a purpose in my life now, something to work towards.
Right.
So I was like, well, since I'm way too young, I only started lifting like 6 months ago, I'm only 14, I'm going to make it a goal to compete before I'm 20. So that was my goal.
That's pretty awesome. So
Yeah.
then from 14 until now, you've just basically been kind of
Chasing the goal.
focused on that
Yeah.
goal. And so you feel like that kind of gives you purpose?
Yeah, I feel like,
Yeah.
because like a life without something to work towards, it's like a little, in my opinion, it's like you're kind of unsure of what to do sometimes, and like you feel
Yeah.
like,
And it's a good, healthy purpose. It keeps you like, and it's a positive atmosphere
Yeah.
usually. So you're probably around a lot of positive people.
oh yeah, every day at
Yeah.
Body Shop, and like
Yeah.
I used to work out at Ironworks, so many positive people there.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. So when was your first show then?
It was actually less than a year ago. It was April.
Last year at
I think it was April 1st.
Emerald Cup?
Vancouver Open was my first
Vancouver
show.
Open. Okay. And is that how you got your pro?
No, so those are regional shows. So Vancouver and Emerald Cup were my first 2 regional shows, and
Right.
then from there, if you get top 2, you are nationally qualified, and then that's where you can go to a national show to get your pro card. So I got mine at my second national show.
And is that pretty crazy for someone your age to get that?
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, I don't really like brag about it because there's nothing to brag about.
Right, you're trying to stay humble about it.
Yeah, and like also I'm still an amateur at heart. Like I've only been doing this for like a year or so I still have so much to learn. So I still consider myself an amateur.
Right. So
Yeah.
did you know that you had that kind of potential, or was that surprising to you when you were
No,
able?
I
Were you
I
pretty
did.
surprised when you were able to get your pro card?
Yeah, I did not expect to get it like my first season and at my age. I thought I'd have to be fighting for years cuz
Yeah.
I'm a smaller competitor
Hmm.
and I still have a lot of muscle maturity that I haven't
Oh
reached
yeah,
yet.
I'm
So
sure.
I just was just like I'm going to try give it my all and whatever happens I'm going to work harder to get my pro card before I'm 20.
Right. And then you got it, but you're saying you're trying to kind of keep yourself in a humble spot by saying I'm still
Absolutely.
an amateur at heart, and you know
Mhm.
that.
And I know I still am. Like,
Yeah.
I've never been on the pro stage before. I don't know where I stand in the pro league. So,
Right.
therefore, until I prove myself wrong or until I go to a pro show and,
Hmm.
like, place, well, like, I'm still an amateur. I'm going to consider myself one until I prove myself wrong.
Right. So you still want
Mm-hmm.
to earn that respect. You don't want
Yeah.
to just. Yeah, yeah. That makes a lot of
Because,
sense.
like, and I don't just say that to be humble because that's, like, truly what I believe.
Right.
Because, like,
Well, I think that's
mm-hmm.
good, right? Any kind of pursuit you're doing, you want to earn it, and
Yeah.
you want to be respected amongst your peers in it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you don't want to. So you want to make sure that they know that you put in the same kind of time and effort and
Exactly.
work that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so maybe you could actually explain a little bit
Mm-hmm.
about, because I actually don't know that much about. So in women's competition, there
Yeah.
is there's bikini. What
Mm-hmm.
else is there?
So there's bikini, wellness, figure, fitness, and then women's bodybuilding.
Right. Oh my, there's like five different. I
Yeah.
had no idea. That's
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
So it's similar to men's divisions, like because you have different divisions for men's. Like you have 212, open, classic, men's
Hmm.
physique, all that.
Right.
Um,
So is that something that you've kind of become a fan of that sport too?
yeah, I've been a fan since I was 14, so I was like, I've always been fangirling over C-Bum and like, you
Yeah.
know, all
Yeah.
that.
So definitely, so you know all the ins and outs of it and everything.
I wouldn't say I know all the ins and outs of it, but
But
like
as a fan, you're kind
yeah,
of yeah, yeah.
yeah. I'm in tune. Like
Right.
I love this sport.
So what is it about Sebum? Why does everybody love him so much?
I think honestly it's who he is as a person cuz like what I think and like the mindset that a lot of people that do well in the industry have is like the person that you are on the inside. It's going to reflect on how
Hmm.
you act on the outside, how you carry yourself and like what you earn.
Yeah,
And like
that's a good way to put it.
and Sebum's like such a down to earth and humble person and like
Yeah, he's definitely got that likability
yeah, he's just
quality.
really like kind, like and it reflects. It shows what he does on stage. Like, he's a 4-time champion now, and like that mindset that he has, it carries with him.
Right, so it's like
Mm-hmm.
he shows that personality of kind and caring, but he also shows that dedication and
Mm-hmm.
hard work at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like he is so likable. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
I bet a lot of people who know nothing about bodybuilding, they know who C-Bum is.
Yeah.
You know, he's
Yeah.
like,
He has like what, like 15 million followers. I think.
yeah, like
I
a
don't know. A
lot of
lot.
people know who C-Bum is
Mm-hmm.
now.
Even
So
celebrities know who he is.
yeah,
Because he is a celebrity, but
he is. It's cool.
yeah.
I like how he even like makes fun of his lisp a little bit with his like whey protein and everything. It's like
Mm-hmm.
he calls it whey isolate.
Oh yeah,
like,
and like his savage.
yeah, savage. It's like, hey, you take the negative and turn it, and it shows that you have.
Yeah.
Well, it shows that you are humble, that you can like poke fun at
Yeah,
yourself.
and like you turn your weaknesses into your strengths.
Yeah, is that something that you've been finding out too? Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and what are some weaknesses and strengths that you have that you want, or is there weaknesses that you want to work on as you keep getting older?
This is mental, but insecurity. So like, I'm still very insecure. I am so hyper fixated on like what everyone is doing, like what they think. Like, do they think I'm weird or this and that? So like,
Right.
I obviously don't care too much about what other people think of me now, but I used to be so hyper aware and like just like always looking around, having that anxiety and like always just like scared to talk because I didn't want to come off like or like offend anyone if I said like
The wrong thing.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like this wanting everybody to like you type of thing.
Yeah, I was a people pleaser for most of my life and like now like competing helped me realize you have to have a backbone and like not everyone's gonna like you and that's okay. You just have to do what makes you happy.
Yeah, yeah, and sometimes it's I mean, if you want to be someone who is successful too, like you're gonna have to get used to people not liking you.
Yeah, and there's always gonna be trolls online and haters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do you get any of that now?
I get I get people accusing me of using like drugs.
PEDs and stuff, yeah.
That's the only kind of hate that I get.
Right.
And like it bothers me, I'll be honest, cuz it's like, you know, I'm only 18. I still haven't reached my fullest potential yet, so why would I?
Yeah, like you know that like you really need to wait till a certain age, right? Yeah, it's
and like the moment that I do decide to use PEDs, I'm going to come up front, like I'm just going to tell people straight up, like, yeah, I'm
So you're not going to be like Liver King.
No.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about that right now.
I've been like.
What do you think about that?
I like. Did
as a
he
young
spend
person,
like 15 grand on?
Oh, just like the amount he was spending on GH and all this, like, because they leaked that email.
Oh yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was Derek.
Right?
Well, yeah, his coach, but I think Derek from More Plates, More Dates, you know who that is?
Yeah.
I think he got a hold of it and somehow leaked it. And, well, that's like my buddy just tagged me in this post on Facebook, and it was like, the dude that plays Wolverine. What is his name?
Jackman.
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
And it was this article about how he's like, I've never taken steroids to play Wolverine and all this. And we're like, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And we're like, we'd have to ask Derek from More Plates, More Dates, you know? And so I think he's the one that he's like the one that leaked that whole thing. So, you know, it's kind of just shitty because like you said, if somebody does it and they're like upfront with it, or like, we always talk about like The Rock on here. And it's like, The Rock never puts himself in a position where he needs to answer that question.
But he is, right?
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
Bare minimum, he's on TRT, right?
Yeah.
Like testosterone replacement therapy. Because, you know, he's in his 50s. Like, your body's going to stop, you know.
He's in his 50s?
40s or 50s.
Oh, wow. I thought he was like 41.
Yeah, you're probably right. He's in his 40s or something. Getting close to his 50s maybe. But, you know, at some point, your body. So, like, worst case, I mean, we don't know. But I always like Derek's channel because he kind of, I don't know. He's one of those channels that, like, he'll go and look at people and he can kind of tell what they're on. But, you know, it's like, I feel like in the industry that you're in, it doesn't matter. Like, everybody's going to be like, no matter what, you're always going to get people saying stuff like that. And it's so stupid because.
And it doesn't matter because you work just as hard. You know, like, PEDs don't define how hard you work. They're just, you know, like, they're just there. It's part of the journey, and, like, you go with it, you know?
Yeah, and I think,
doesn't define you.
People think that they, like, mean people aren't working hard or something.
Exactly.
It's like there's literally dudes that will take PEDs and then, like, sit on the couch and play video games, and they don't get in shape.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like you magically just get in shape.
You need to put in the work.
So say The Rock is on something, it doesn't take away from any of his debt. Like, that guy gets up every morning.
Like 3 a.m. And, like,
3 a.m. He probably gets up, does empty stomach cardio, I bet, every morning.
Yep.
Then he gets some food in him. Then he probably takes his pre-workout. He probably goes out to his, like, Iron Paradise that he always has with him. And he lifts, like, extremely, not always extremely heavy, but extremely strict on everything he does. And pretty heavy, I mean. And he just knows what he's doing. He's been doing it so long. So, like, say he's on something, it doesn't take away any of that, you know? So, like, I don't know. But you'll probably have people saying that kind of stuff for, I mean, so it's probably good that you get used to, like, all these type of things now that you're young, because, like, by the time you're older, you'll be so, you know, you'll be bulletproof as far as, like, people talking shit.
Yeah. It's crazy that, like, all of this, like, in 1 year I was able to kind of learn about the ins and outs of the industry and this and that, because I used to have, like, this weird, like, idealization of the industry, thinking that everything was perfect, rainbows and sunshines, and then once you're in it, you learn a lot, and, like, the industry's amazing. There's amazing people in the industry, but you learn about, like, different, like, tactics and, like, what you need to do, like, appropriate things. Like, you can't talk to other coaches if you're already working with the coach, obviously. Just, like, common sense that I never really knew about before, you know, getting into the industry.
It's kind of like some politics and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like, I mean, I don't even know about all that stuff either.
And I don't know everything. Like, I'm still learning. I know, like, the baseline.
Yeah. Well, and you'll get all that stuff, I'm sure, as you go. So what's been your favorite part about all of it? Like, just like having that challenge, something to accomplish.
Yeah, and
Something.
like something to work towards, and also like using your passion to inspire other people to like find theirs. It doesn't have to be bodybuilding, it can be anything, but just like showing people that like anything is possible.
Right. It's like whatever you want to do that you're passionate about, you should
Yeah,
go after it, right?
exactly.
Um, yeah, that was what's cool about like having Seth on yesterday.
Mhm.
That's like, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If it's like you want to be an artist or if you want to be a musician or you want to be a rapper, or like today I was like at Safeway and I ran into these two dudes. He's like telling me he's trying to be a music producer and I'm like, dude, go for it. You know,
Yeah.
he's got an Instagram set up and like, I always think it's cool anybody that's like trying to like go after whatever their dream is.
Exactly.
So do you think it's like it's the goal oriented stuff that you really like about it the most?
Yeah, and like the mindset, because it completely changed me as a person. Like I used to, as I said, just be like very aware of my surroundings, very like cautious and careful and like anxiety based. And now I'm just kind of like,
right.
I'll go with most things.
Do you think like the working out has kind of helped your anxiety?
Yeah, a lot. Because I used to, like, I still fidget, but like, because I was diagnosed with anxiety when I was 10.
Right.
And I would always like just go like this in class and like
Yeah.
just like I had to be pacing around. Like I always got really anxious and like I would sweat a lot too.
So what about coffee? Can you drink coffee?
I
was gonna say sometimes that makes anxious people even more anxious.
I drink coffee, but I keep it to a minimum because it makes me so anxious, like to the point where I'll have like anxiety attacks over the air.
Right.
Or, like I look at the sky and
That's
I'm
what
just like,
I was reading about caffeine. It's like there's like benefits to it. Obviously, it showed an inverse relationship with depression, so that's a
Yeah.
good thing, right? But it did show that if you drink too much of it, it can elevate anxiety.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, that makes sense. But so and then if you're working out and you have a lift and you're like, you're on point with your diet and you're probably like it helps your anxiety because like you just used all your energy and you got endorphins. Like you don't even have time to be anxious because you feel like you just. I mean, for me, if I work out really hard, and I hit everything I'm supposed to do in the day, and I get to the end of the day, like I fall asleep like that.
Yeah, you feel accomplished.
Yeah.
And,
And you feel. I find that too. Do you find that where like, if you're doing the things that you need to do, like the goals you set, at the end of the day, you can look yourself in the mirror and you like yourself. And if you let yourself slip,
then
at the end of the day, you're like, you fucker. Like, like
that's exactly how I feel. Like before I came here, I finished like I have one assignment left, but I finished all my homework. I was like, I'm just gonna knock it out before I do the podcast, and now I feel great.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then you have like responsibilities like doing podcasts and stuff. Like I'm sure a lot of people
You can do the fun stuff now.
Well, yeah, especially that's why they say that there's actually more freedom in discipline, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like if you have the stuff done, it's like so now like something cool comes up that you want to do and you have time. Like say your friend's like, let's go see the Avatar at the theater or whatever. Like, well, I can't. I have to do this. That. Well, if you would have done it earlier in the day, you would have had this free time. And now you could have went and done something fun. Like, So I think for me anyway, not for everybody, but for me, like discipline seems to give me
more freedom.
Yeah, especially like. As I'm getting clients and stuff for personal training and everything, it's like more responsibility seems to make me run better because I have more to do. I don't know.
No, I agree because I feel like if you don't have discipline or that like some sort of structure, you're actually kind of trapped because then you're just like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. But then it just becomes like a perpetual cycle and it just keeps going and going and you're just trapped.
And then it's always tomorrow. Like tomorrow I'll do this. Tomorrow I'll do this.
Yeah.
It's like, and then tomorrow like really never comes, right?
Yeah. Tomorrow's just like off in the future. Like
it's easy to put it off on tomorrow. Yeah, there's something in. What do you think about when you've done these things? I always find I found a lot of value in completing things that I said I was gonna do.
Yeah.
And finishing things. Like when you leave things unfinished, it gives you more anxiety.
Yeah, exactly. Yesterday, I think I went to bed anxious because I forgot to fold my laundry or something, and I've been thinking about it all day. I still haven't folded it yet because I was just like, I need to do homework first because that's obviously more important.
Yeah, but it's still like in the back of your head.
It's just lingering in the back of my head now.
Until you get it done, it's gonna be there. That's kind of a good thing. It probably keeps you keeps you like motivated and stuff, like I do that even like when I'm uploading the podcasts and stuff. I'll like get up to use the restroom in the middle of the night and I'll check on it, like, is it uploaded yet? Did it work? Like, just like little things you have to check off, and like you make little mental checklists in your head and stuff like that.
Then once you check off the boxes, you're just like, oh, great, now I can actually relax.
It feels better, yeah.
It just feels better.
So what do you think the most challenging thing is about what you've done with bikini? Like, what are some of the things that you have to think about, work on? What were some of the biggest challenges that you faced when you were training for your competitions?
So with bikini in all divisions, you have a criteria. So with bikini, it's symmetry, not having like outstanding body parts. So not one muscle group isn't like dominating the other. If that makes sense, it's all about symmetry. So like for me, I love the look of huge quads, and like I used to only train my quads, so now I'm dealing with the repercussions, so my quads are overpowering for my division, so I haven't been able to directly train them at all.
And so is it about trying to work the other parts of the leg, or just like...
Just like trying to get my other body parts to catch up to the one dominating body part.
Right.
So it's challenging because you're doing something that like goes against what you kind of want to do.
Because you have a strength and you want to use it, but it's like you can't.
You got to turn your other weaknesses into strength. So like my weaknesses are my delts, my lats, my hamstrings, my glutes. Those are my weaknesses that I'm working towards, trying to improve them.
And so in your training, is everything kind of around those things right now?
Yeah, because Nelson structures it to where like we get a lot of hamstring and glute work done, and like I have 2 like heavy high volume leg days, and then like one kind of like a pump leg day on Wednesdays, and then I have my 2 upper body days on Tuesdays and Saturdays.
And those are probably mostly focused on back and delts.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, because even in women's, in bikini comp, like having like capped shoulders is like a good thing, right?
Yeah,
and
you need to have that bubbly round look, because like with the Olympia, that kind of like sets the criteria for the year and like the standard for the year. So I think, and I could be wrong, I don't know this, but I've heard a lot of people saying that for bikini, they're kind of like wanting to have the criteria be like a fuller, more bubbly look, because it was getting a little too jacked and lean at a point.
Well, I heard that too, so I don't know. I'm not gonna...
I could be wrong though. But
right,
that's
we
what
could
I've
both
been
end up
hearing.
being wrong, but I've definitely heard that this year from other people where like they wanted to go a little bit back to a little more feminine look.
Yeah, like
where
the beach body look.
Yeah, like
kinda.
It was getting a little too kind of like dried out and grainy and like...
I remember Coach Adam, this is Ashley Kaltwasser's coach, but I was watching his podcast or his YouTube video, and he was saying how like it needs to be attainable, like obviously not to 100% of the population, but it needs to be attainable to at least like 90% of the population, because like he was saying that.
Whereas I feel like the men's is not attainable for like... I heard this statistic that there's statistically more millionaires than people with guys with abs.
I've heard of that statistic too.
And I'm like, well, actually that makes sense, because like $1 million isn't that much anymore.
Yeah.
And like it's hard to have abs.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of doesn't surprise me, but yeah, it's a lot different for women's, I imagine.
Yeah.
What other kind of challenges were there? Was it mentally challenging, like a lot of pressure?
It was mentally challenging because when I was like in the beginning of my first prep and everything, well, I've only been through one prep, but in the beginning of prep, I had a lot of people just kind of saying, like, they had different opinions on me and like different opinions on why I wanted to keep going and doing all these shows, and I just had to learn to tune that out, because I used to be so, like, my anxiety was so bad during prep. I would have panic attacks before the gym, and like I would have anxiety attacks, and I would have to like sit in a ball like in my kitchen just for an hour before the gym just to like calm myself down, because I was like so scared of walking into the gym and people being like, why are you doing this show? Like, shouldn't you take a break? Or like people, like, So I was very like aware and like scared of what other people were gonna say. So that was the most challenging part, was just like kind of fighting myself, because at the end of the day I brought that upon myself. I was too focused on the
other
opinion.
people.
Yeah, and I needed to be focused on myself.
Well, and do you think they were saying that out of like concern for you?
Probably.
It was mostly out of concern.
I'm pretty sure, because, you know, like, with my past and everything,
Yeah.
so I'm pretty sure it all just came from a place of, like, wanting to, just looking out for me, but I obviously probably didn't take it that way. I probably looked at it like, oh, they don't like me, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, that was something I had to battle, was just, like, my own internal monologue telling me, like, that it's me against the world, when really other people are just trying to look out for me and be there for me.
Right.
So it was hard fighting that, but now I kind of have to remember to just, like, put yourself in other people's shoes and just think about what they're going through, and, like,
Yeah, and
what
they
they
probably
need.
mostly mean well, right?
Yeah, nobody has truly ill intentions unless you're, like, a psychopath.
Yeah, they do. Well, and sometimes I feel like it's like people can't quite understand what you're doing either. It's
Yeah,
like
nobody's gonna understand.
they're not many people put themselves through really, really hard things.
Yeah.
So, you know, they'll be like, well, why would you want to do that?
Yeah, like
You
at
know?
school, because I was still in high school when I was in prep. It was my senior year, so I would go into high school, and, like, every 2 weeks I would come in a little leaner, and my face would obviously be smaller, and I would get smaller and smaller. So I had some of my friends be like, are you good? Like, you look very... Because I
Yeah.
would wear loose clothing, too, because I didn't like to show off
Right.
my physique or anything. So I would have, like, people be like, you look different, but we can't put our finger on it, and this and that.
Because they don't understand what
Yeah.
you're doing. It's a process.
And then, like, I'd have, like, boys in my grade be like, oh my god, like, her ass just disappeared.
Yeah, making comments like that. Yeah.
And,
Dang, that's hilarious.
But, like, I don't know why. I didn't care about anything that anybody at school said. I only cared about, like, the people in my life and what they thought about it.
Right. Well, and you're doing something really hard, so it's like, and it's something that not a lot of people do. So anytime you're doing something where, you know, it's something not a lot of people can relate to, they're not going to understand you. But that's good that you were able to just find that strength within yourself and just focus on, hey, this is what I'm doing, and not let that kind of stuff bother you, you know, because they don't really understand, you know, like, unless they're doing some other kind of thing that's really super challenging, like, they're never really going to get it, right? You know, like, but, you know, like you said, I think a lot of it was probably just, you know, concern,
Yeah.
but some of that stuff is just like, people don't get it. Like, even when I had the, I had Barb Konchak on here. She was a former UFC fighter, and, like, I was like, so what did people do? And, you know, you started fighting, like, did they get it? She's like, yeah, I mean, some of them thought I was crazy. Other ones got it. But it's like, so anytime you're doing something that's, like, out of the norm, a lot of people just aren't going to understand it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, you had coaches, you had people watching, you know what you were doing, you were prepping for a show, so you're getting leaner. But they just see, like, why is she getting so skinny?
Yeah.
Or why does her, you know, like, even when I had, I did, like, a test prep to see if I was going to do this show, and I got, like, really lean, and I had people at work, like, oh, you look really skinny. Like, are you okay? And all this stuff. But yet, like, they didn't see that, like, when I would, like, take photos with my shirt off, like, I was cut. Like, I looked good. But they would just see me in my clothes, and, like, I'm smaller than normal. And they, you know, like, are you okay? And it's like, well, this is just part of this process.
Exactly.
Like, it's part of trying to do this thing that's a really, really challenging sport. And it's like, is it healthy for you? I mean, kind of not. If you know, if you do it right, it is.
Yeah.
But it's hard on the body, for sure. We all know that. We wouldn't get into it if we didn't know that. You know, like, but it's just part of the process.
And you got to know what you're signing up for, because at the end of the day, you're choosing to do it.
Right.
You know?
You're signing up for it, and, like, your coaches know what you're capable of, and they know how to do it in a healthy manner.
Yeah.
So
Like,
it's
nobody's going to intentionally put you in danger. Like, I know for a fact, because I had a friend who was going to compete, but she had, like, she had health problems, so her coach was just like, nope, we're not going to do it.
Right.
Like, we're not doing it. We're going to restore your health, and, like,
yeah,
you know.
they'll tell you if your
Yeah.
body can handle it or not. They're not going to put somebody through. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just hard for regular people to understand. You know, it's a tough
exactly.
sport. So
I think only 2% of the population does this.
yeah, really.
Like, just being in the fitness industry is, like, just working out, gym-wise, all that.
Okay.
But I could be wrong.
Well, and then people that compete's probably a really small number, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I think so.
it's a cool scene around here. What do you think about the scene here? Like, you've probably met a lot of cool people.
There's a lot of, like, different gyms around here, and, like, different groups of people that I've met, and, like, everybody here is really nice so far.
Yeah.
I don't really, I'm not really in tune with like the different groups or like different.
You're just focused on you.
I'm just kind of like focused on the gym that I go to and just like the people there, because those are the people that I see almost every day. So it's like,
Yeah.
be comfortable around them, and I'm like, I love just going to the gym and like seeing everyone, even though I look angry at the gym because I'm like,
That's because you're intense, right?
I have a resting bitch face.
Well, that's probably part of like, I mean, like when you're trying to do something, you have to put yourself in that mental space, right? Sometimes, like, I was talking about like when you're going into prep or you're trying to like, you kind of have to like surround yourself with like hard stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, that's why I was like, you got to start watching like anime and like stuff. Like, you don't want to be watching like stuff that's like lighthearted and fun. You want to watch like those like serious things that get you like, or like listen to music that kind of gets you motivated. Cause like, you kind of have to get yourself into a different headspace, especially the closer you get, right? Like, because if you're in like a lighthearted, fun headspace, it's like you just want to be jovial, eat food, let yourself go. You know what I mean? But when you're trying to do something really hard like this, you got to be cold almost.
Yeah, and it's like if you want to do well, you need to take it seriously. Like the cheat meal after the show, like all that stuff. That's
coming.
Like don't
That's
worry
later.
about that.
That's
like,
later. That's not right now.
Yeah, and like, I had my friends at school being like, "Oh my god, like what are you gonna have for your cheat meal after the show?" And I didn't have a cheat meal after my first show or my second one. I was just like, I'm trying to work towards something. That is the last thing that's on my mind.
Right. They're so focused on that, but you're like focused on like, I want to win. I want to be great.
And I was just like, I'm focused on the big picture here in my future and what I want to achieve and like the amount of time that I have to do so. Like I need to be on point with everything.
That's long-term thinking versus short-term reward thinking. They're thinking of the short-term reward of like the cheat meal and everything. Yeah, because like when you're really in it, you're not thinking about that. You're like, well, a cheat meal is not going to get me to my goal.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, why do I even need it? You know? Yeah.
So I was just like, and like they were just like, well, aren't you like, you're so rigid, like you're on a meal plan, you're on this and that, like live a little. Like I had some people tell me that, and I'm just like, this is my life. Like I like to do this.
I don't like that stuff when people do that.
Yeah, and it's like, to each their own. If you find enjoyment in like just like, going out and doing whatever, like, that's your life, and I'm happy that you like to do that, but leave me alone. Like,
it's
just
not
let
good
me do
for
what
you.
I want to do.
Right. I don't like when people do that because it's like, it'd be like if you went up to somebody who's like out of shape and eats whatever they want, and they're like, why don't you work out? What's fucking wrong with you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
they feel like, because it's like they're doing the same thing to you, like, I don't know. It's weird. I don't like that when people do that because it's kind of like
they're projecting their selves.
It's insecurity sometimes too because they're uncomfortable with themselves and they're like, well, I want you to act the way I do so that
I can feel better.
You're getting better than me and I don't like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that's a different way of putting it. I've never thought of it that way.
I think it can be that sometimes a lot. Yeah. I mean, I
just think it comes from people being like, oh, here, that's like just kind of like thinking, well, this is what I enjoy it. Most of the population should enjoy it, and then they judge you based on that or something.
Yeah, sometimes.
Or just like the social norm. Or
sometimes it's a social norm. I think sometimes people don't like other people achieving more than them, though.
Yeah, like
so they're like, just come back down here, be like what I'm doing.
Yeah,
just eat
I guess
pizza.
It's human nature. It's just competition. Like we're all, even I am. Like we're all competitive, I guess.
Yeah, like subconsciously, there's all kinds of stuff like that going on. So. Yeah, and at the same time, though, like you said, I mean, a lot of it's just, they're just mean well, and they're like, well, just have fun, live a little. But, like, I think deep down, it's like they just don't want you, like, achieving more than them. Sometimes, I don't know, I don't trust anybody, so what do I know? But
yeah, I have trust issues as well.
Yeah, no, I do. After a while, you learn to do it, but I always, like, feel like you got to focus on... I mean, your friends, your family, they'll have your back for sure.
Yeah, if people are truly meant to be in your life, they're going to support you no matter what. Like, I remember for the first few months of prep, I isolated myself from all my friends, which I do not recommend doing. You should not do that. Like, you should have your support system by you because it takes a village. But I was just, like, very, like, I didn't know what I should have done. So I was just like, I'm just going to isolate myself because obviously... I'm probably not going to be pleasant to be around because I won't be talking as much, this and that. And then my second show, I had some of my best friends reach out and they were like, hey, when's your next show? Like, we want to come see it. And then I reconnected with all my friends. And then I started hanging out with them every weekend, even on prep, and everything felt normal again. So it's like
So eventually they accepted you for what you're doing, and so like you can still go hang out with them.
Yeah, all my friends are like they work out and all that stuff. So
Okay.
like they understood why I isolated myself, but like they respected it. Like they were just like, she's focused on her goal right now, this and that, and I respected them, like, because they had their goals too, like, you know, like getting into college, working out, powerlifting, this and that. Everybody has different goals, so we all kind of just like respected one another, and then you can come back together and hang out like nothing happened, or like no time had passed, and that's how you know they're your real friends.
Right. It's like, yeah, your real friends. You could have like I have my friends. I'm originally from the Midwest, and those friends of mine, it's like no time has passed. You know, like you can talk to them. They don't even care. Like, you don't have to text them every day. They're not needy. They don't need anything.
Exactly. You just know they're there.
Every once in a while, they'll throw a text into the group text or a meme or like this, and we'll catch up, or like they'll be supportive about something, or I'll give them support with something, and it's like you still feel their presence every day. No, even the distance, it means nothing.
And it's kind of, I think it's a part of adulthood too, because like growing up, I always thought a best friend was somebody that you had to spend 24/7 with, and this and that, but like in reality that's not how it is. Like everybody has their own life, and like everybody's working and doing
your
something.
Friends are just the people that want you to be the best.
And like you can come together and enjoy each other's company,
but it's not a needy thing.
You just like, you know,
I always think that's the worst thing is when you get somebody that's like constantly like
clingy.
wants something from you and clingy and sending you millions of messages, and it's like, what do you want now?
Yeah, that's how like I had like a few friendships like that.
They were bad, yeah.
That were just like not bad, but
they call those like energy vampires. You know,
but they would like get mad if I had to go to the gym and this and that, and I'm just like,
well, it's like then you don't really want the best for me, because that's what I'm trying to achieve.
And I'm also an introvert, so I have a hard time like hanging out with a ton of people unless I'm super close. So I have just like my main friend group that I hang out with, and they're like family to me, and those are the only people that I hang out with like every single weekend.
Right.
Because like I have bad social anxiety.
Yeah, I can kind of understand that. I had that when I was younger for sure. It's weird, like I could like be in front of a crowd doing the stuff I do, but like, or same with like bartending. I wouldn't mind bartending, but I didn't like going to the bar and being one of the customers. Like, as long as I was like behind the bar doing my thing,
with your safety net up.
It's like a safety zone. Or when I was playing in bands, it's like, well, I'm in the band, so I'm up here.
And you're down.
The crowd's out there. If I was like out in that crowd, I'd be like, I feel weird. I want to go home. You know, like I think I've gotten a little better with that as I've gotten older, learning to and you're probably getting this with everything you're doing, but like learning how to network and like meet people and like, but yeah, I totally get it. It's just like,
it's weird though, because in the industry I'm so outgoing. Like I'll talk to everyone in the bodybuilding industry. Like whoever comes up to me, I'll be like, hey, like I'm so like outgoing, kind of like in this industry. Like I love meeting new people, but then when it comes to like
regular
social
stuff,
I'm just kind of like closed.
No, I get that, because it's what you're passionate about. So you like doing it. So it's like, I mean, yeah, that's like how it was. Like, I think, yeah, like if it was like a pro wrestling event, because that's what I used to do, I would love going out and doing it. I would love, you know, I loved every minute of it. I had no problem talking to fans or being that, but like, you know, then if you're like, let's go to like a wedding or something, I'm like, ooh, this is kind of weird.
I had like, one of my relatives got married, and they had like a bachelorette party. I don't know what they're called.
Yeah,
bachelorette
party.
I didn't go.
You're just like, this is too much for me.
Yeah, I was just like, it's too many people. I can't do it.
Yeah, I get that. You know, you might, who knows, maybe you'll do some work on that. But also there's nothing.
I will, hopefully.
Hopefully, but it's like, I get it. Some people are just introverts. Like some people get their energy. Like in bodybuilding, it's different because you're around people that have the same love and passion as you,
exactly.
so you're probably getting energy from it.
It's contagious energy that you get from the people around you that have the same goals and like mindset and all that.
Do you have any female bikini pros or like people that you really looked up to?
Yes. I think like 15 years old, I started looking up to Jen Dory. I started following Marine when I was 16. She's actually Miss Olympia, like Miss Bikini Olympia.
Okay, cool.
This year, Ashley Kaltwasser, I always followed her. These are all bikini pros.
Yep.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, Janet, I like really look up to her as well. And
that's
like,
awesome.
But I like people around me, like people that I've competed with, in my first few shows. I really look up to those people as well, because they were what sparked that motivation in me. Because, you know, like.
And you probably got really close with a lot of them too. Just because you're going through the trenches together.
Yeah,
right?
I've made a lot of good and close friends throughout the sport. Like, the amount of people that I've met in this sport is more people than I've ever met in my
life before that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in like a span of 1 year, I met like a lot of people.
Right. So are your parents pretty supportive of it too? Like they're probably happy that you're recovered and like doing something that you love and not just doing it but being successful in it.
Yeah, I'm so blessed to have their support. Like they just like they're happy that I'm happy, and like I was able to inspire my dad by doing this sport as well, which was really meaningful to me.
Right. Like, was he kind of wanting to get back in shape and stuff?
Yeah, because he used to weightlift and all that, and then he's a recovering alcoholic, but when he saw that I won my second show, that was the first time I'd ever seen him cry. So
he was so proud of you.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
he was in the audience, and like we got it on video too, and when they announced that I won, that's why I cried at Emerald Cup, because I was just like, my dad's out there in the audience and he's crying and I'm crying. And then like after the show, for like 2 weeks straight, he did not touch a single drink, and he like was on his game, and like it was just so meaningful to me. And I was like, wow, I'm like using what I do to inspire him and like have him find his purpose again. Like that's why I do what I do.
That's super meaningful, because you know it's like you're his daughter, so he wants to be better for you, you know. Like that's pretty cool. It'd be hard not to cry if you see your dad out there crying.
I was a wreck when because I didn't think I was gonna win my class for Emerald Cup. I was just waiting for whatever other placing, and then when they announced my name, I was like in shock. And I remember just like stumbling to the center of the stage to get my medal, and I was just a wreck.
Yeah, like it probably didn't even feel real.
No, it didn't. And like my best friends were in the audience. Jake and Ty, they came and watched me, and like everything and all that. And then I was just like, this is so meaningful.
It is. That's a moment you'll never forget. That.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty cool, and to do it at such a young age. Man, to have your dad be so proud of you like that, that's gotta feel really good.
I've never seen him like emotional like that before. So it was like a milestone.
Dang. Yeah. Man. I mean that's really cool when people's parents are like supportive of whatever the passions that they're going after, like, cuz there's a lot of them where the parents are like, don't do that, you know, like
my parents like. My mom told me this because I got nose surgery in the middle of prep last year because I had a deviated septum, so they had to like fix it so I could breathe during prep and all that.
And that was going on right during prep?
During prep.
And were you like pretty depleted during that time already, or not quite? Not quite yet. So just started maybe?
And I remember looking at my mom and being like, because the recovery was brutal, my eyes were like so bruised and this and that, and I remember looking at my mom and being like, do I just quit? Should I just like do a show next year instead? And she looked at me and she goes, anything is possible. I believe in you. I think you can do this, and I think you're gonna surprise yourself. I didn't raise a quitter.
That's pretty cool that your mom's like that.
Yeah, she told me that in Thai, because she's Thai, and we were in Thailand at the time.
Really? So you speak Thai too?
Yeah, fluently.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but I can't write or read in Thai. Just speak.
It's probably hard to write.
Yeah, it's like symbols.
Right.
And like I think there's 48 letters in the alphabet.
Okay, but speaking, no problem.
Yeah.
But so she told you that, and you know, that's pretty cool that your mom's like that, because a lot of people's parents would go the other way and try to like coddle them, like no, just don't do, it's like, but that doesn't make you necessarily stronger. So like,
Mm-hmm.
she's raising you to be strong.
Yeah,
That's
they raised me to be like, because like with my dad and how he was, my mom always told me like you need to be strong. If you're not going to be strong for you, do it for me. Like
hmm
just be strong. So that was always like my mindset growing up, and just like learning to be there for other people, because you never know what's going on in someone's life.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
true.
like I always wanted to help other people, like when I was younger.
That's a good quality. I always
Yeah.
think that too about like, even when you go to the grocery store or something and like the
Mhm.
person checking you out's all angry and it's like, you don't know what they're going through. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm sure it's not fun working that job and
Mhm.
like, so I'm always just try to be super nice to them, or like, they always say you never know what battle people are going through.
Yeah, and it's so true, because it's like, the happiest person in the room could be battling the biggest demons. You never know, because like people have
Yeah,
this front,
they
and
hide it
like
for
it's
sure.
it's scary knowing like what goes on in people's heads and the scary things that they've experienced. So it's like just be.
Right.
It doesn't take it like cost anything to be nice. Just be nice to people, and it'll all pay off.
That's a
And
good lesson for
yeah.
people. I think people forget that.
That's why my friends, they're like, "Why are you so nice to everyone?" And like sometimes I'm overly nice, and I'll like.
That's
It's
some of
just
your people pleasing stuff too.
yeah, and like it's just because like it's my intuition. I'm just like, well, I want to be there for other people, and I want people to know that they can rely on me if they
Yes.
ever need anything.
But I think you're right. I think it's good though. Nice and kind does not mean weak.
Yeah.
You can show like, you could be strong and driven and ambitious.
Mhm.
Set boundaries though, like
That's one thing I had a hard time
try to
was setting.
learn.
Mhm.
But then still you can be nice and kind to people, I believe. I think
Mhm.
you can do both.
Yeah.
I think you can get better at, cuz yeah, so
I'm better at saying no now, which is
that's
a good
huge.
thing. Yeah. I used to say yes to everything.
Yeah, that's a bad thing.
Mhm.
Um it's funny because you'll notice that as you get older too,
Mhm.
you really get better with that because you're like, that you don't have as much time. Like your age, you're
Yeah.
like, I got all the time in the world.
Mhm.
You start getting older, like up past like, your 30s and stuff. When people start wasting your time, you're like, I just don't have time for this.
Yeah.
You're like,
I'm
I only
ready.
have literally only have so much time.
Yeah, now that I'm like a full time college student, I'm just like, like if somebody asks me to do something and I really just don't want to do it, I'm
No.
I'm probably just gonna be like, sorry, I'm busy, can't.
Yeah, and like especially if you do have like social anxiety, if it's something like you're
Mhm.
not even gonna enjoy, like, let's
Mhm.
go out, let's party, let's do it. It's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, but when it comes to my parents, like if my mom needs me, like I'll
You're
obviously
like,
be
bam, I'm
there.
right there. Yeah.
Yeah, cause like family before anything.
I believe that too. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a good quality for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, like that's what you have, right? I
Mhm.
mean, friends too. Friends can be like family, but
Yeah.
I feel like even as ambitious like as you are with this sport and
Mhm.
chasing this stuff, like at the end of your life, the thing that's really gonna matter is like family,
Yeah,
friends.
exactly. That's why I didn't let this sport become akin to an addiction or anything. So it's like when I was in prep, I was just like making sure I was exerting the same amount of energy into other aspects of my life.
Yeah,
Because like not only did that prove to myself that I could handle all the pressure and like everything that goes into this, but I kind of like asked myself, okay, what would a pro do? A pro obviously has so many obligations. So my way of like practicing that is just making sure that I put like 100% into everything, not just this sport, because this
right.
sport isn't your life, it's part of your
It's
life.
part of it. That's pretty healthy. That's a
Yeah.
healthy, because a lot of people will take it way too far, right? Just
And like
obsession.
obviously I'm very serious about it, but it's
You're
like
still pretty obsessed, I would
yeah, and
say.
yeah, I
Yeah.
am, but I always have to remind myself and check myself, and I'm like, okay, so did I even like do this today? Did I like spend this amount of time with my family today? Yes or no? And if I didn't, then I go drive straight to my parents' house and
You're like trying to get balance
yeah.
in there. Yeah. No, that's good to do. I think you're gonna be happy you did that when you're older too.
Yeah,
Like
for
you'll be
sure.
like, man, I'm glad I spent that time.
Because
Like,
people are only a like what they say, like you never know what you have until it's gone and all that stuff.
right? You have literally no idea like what can
Yeah,
happen. I mean,
exactly. Like anything can happen, which
yeah.
is scary.
Right. It's kind of like, I remember a friend of mine was talking about somebody passing away, and like
Mhm.
we were talking about, if you knew that you had only a certain amount of time left, like what's the thing that you'd probably be doing? Like
Yeah,
it would be like telling people how much they mean to you.
exactly.
And it was like, what if you just like do that anyway?
Mm-hmm.
It'd be like, what if we just do that anyway? If we know like we're not gonna die like in a month, but like,
Mm-hmm.
what if you just started telling people now when you're healthy, like what they
Yeah.
mean to you? It's like that's like we should do more of that, you know?
Like on everyone's birthday, I'll send them giant paragraphs telling them how much they mean to me because it's like I'm scared that like I'm
You
not
never
gonna
know.
have that opportunity to do it today or tomorrow or next year, this and that. So it's like,
Yeah,
and it's my paragraphs are always so long.
that's a good thing though. That's
Yeah.
So I have a buddy, James Jeffries. He was also a wrestler,
Mm-hmm.
and he's probably a few years younger than me, and he's got a wife and kid now and everything. But he is like the best about that. He's like, I think he's like the nicest dude ever. Like and so he does that. Like every time I see that it's somebody's birthday, he will just like take a bunch of photos like from the past with them.
Oh yeah.
Make a huge long paragraph and just so emotional, and it's like
Oh.
he's just so like
I love that.
loving. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he just did it on my birthday. He does it for
It makes you feel like important or like
It
special.
does. I'm like, man, you're making me look like a superstar here.
Yeah.
He's like, you are a superstar. And
That's
like,
so nice.
I know, and then it's like makes me feel like, damn, I need to pick up my game with
Yeah,
that because
exactly.
I'll try to do that too. Like, people that tell people, but I'm like, I can't even compete with James Jeffries. He's the man at it.
Yeah, I can't do that. I'm not gonna spend enough
Yeah.
time searching my camera roll for.
I know, I don't have time for all that, but it's so appreciated. It's like
Yeah.
he's just like one of the best people I know,
Mm-hmm.
and oh, sorry, my phone keeps
no, you're
beeping.
fine.
Damn, I don't know how to turn that off, but anyways, yeah, I think when you get into like bodybuilding or bikini and stuff like you said, it becomes this really competitive thing, and it's got to be really dialed in, and like you said, you almost have to get mean or cold or like but at the same time, I feel like what you just said is super important in life. Like, why are we so mean to each other? Like,
Yeah.
in general, like human beings, it's like, I don't know. I try to just be kind to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do that as well, but like, to a degree, you have to learn to put your foot down, which I'm still.
Yeah. Sometimes you
learning.
gotta be like straight up
Like,
cold with people, like, cause like it can go the other way too. Like I was saying, we had a time where like this girl that I worked with gave a guy her number, and she didn't even want to. She just didn't want to be rude, and it's
I've
like,
done
why
that
do you do
before.
that? Like, just be direct. You have to be
Yeah.
like, no, I'm not in. So like he texted her, and we had to like text him back and be like, not interested, not trying to hang out outside of work. I'm like, see, that's how easy it is. You just gotta. But for her, she just didn't want to be mean.
Yeah, I've
So
done
it's
that
like,
before, and you end up hurting the person by doing that.
yeah, because then it's like, yeah, if you would have just been direct right away and been
You
like,
would have saved them
no,
their
I'm good.
time. Yeah.
Then they'd be like, okay, fair enough, and they'd move on. But yeah, I don't know. That stuff's tricky. But yeah, so I think you get older, you start learning how to do that, say no more.
You learn as you go, just like driving.
Are you good at driving? No. Is it
No.
like, was it hard to drive over here?
No. Okay, so like I say I'm not good at driving. I am, like I can drive, but I choose not to drive safely, so I'll speed and like.
Oh, damn. You're not good at driving that way. Okay.
Yeah, but like.
Make sure you stay off your phone.
Yeah.
That's the toughest thing, because everybody, I see it on the road, it's like, damn, everybody's on their phone. And I know everybody does it, like at stoplights and shit. They're like, oh, what's going on? Like,
I have people tell me I drive like I'm in GTA.
damn, maybe you should have been a race car driver or
But
something.
like I think they just say that as a joke because I drive a mom car.
Yeah, they're totally just messing
Yeah.
with you, but that is funny. Well, that's good you're comfortable driving. Like, it's a lot of people, they don't like to drive, so like, now are you far from the body shop?
Like 20 minutes away.
And you drive every time?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what I do too. It's worth it to go over there.
It is. I love it there because it's the environment. I would.
Such a good environment.
I want to be, because I spend hours at the gym, so it's like if I'm going to be spending over 2 hours somewhere, I need to make sure I'm in an environment that makes me happy.
Yeah.
And like with people that I like around me and all that.
Right, it's so motivational there. Everybody works so hard, so you don't feel out of place, and
Yeah.
it, like, if anything, it makes you up your game,
Exactly.
because you're like, I can't be lazy here. Like, I'm surrounded by all these killers. Like,
And what I like is like people are just doing their own thing because like most of the people there are competitors, so they're either posing in the mirror, or, like this and that. So it's just like nice looking around, seeing other people kind of like work towards their goals.
They're working.
Yeah.
They're not
there to play games.
There's not a ton of sitting around talking and whatever. And that's fine to do some socializing there too.
Yeah.
But for the most part, everybody there is so serious and focused on their goals, like you said, and themselves. So it gives you that mentality too. Like, I'm here to be serious right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And it can still be a fun place, don't get me wrong, but it's I like the seriousness of it. I feel like if you're actually serious about something, you want to be in a place that takes it serious.
Yeah.
So
100%.
Yeah, and so your coach is like all online stuff, right?
Yeah,
but he makes your workout plans too.
Yeah, and my meal plans. He structures everything.
Now, what are his meal plans like for you?
I love all the food on my meal plan.
Yeah.
Because he takes into account like what I like to eat and all that stuff, so he just structures it accordingly. So like,
yeah,
I have like cinnamon raisin bread in my first meal, and like, lots of rice, which I love, and like
I
pasta,
love rice too. Yeah.
potatoes, all that stuff. So like,
he's got you some pasta in there too. Dang.
I'm eating so much food.
Yeah.
So like,
people will probably be surprised, huh?
Yeah.
At how much food you're eating. Yeah.
I have so much rice every day and so much peanut butter.
Oh, peanut butter's so good. Yeah.
So like, I'm eating a lot. I'm very fueled, and I get my Rice Krispies and my Gatorade during my workout.
Oh, I do that too. I love the Rice Krispies. Yeah. It's like the best part. I even started coaching. I've been putting that in people's meal plans.
Yeah.
Like, even like some people that they're just trying to like lose weight. I'm like, and they're not really necessarily working out. They're just kind of walking and stuff. I'm like, I still give them like a couple Rice Krispie treats, and because it's like, why not? It's like one thing they can enjoy, and they're still in the deficit, so it's like they're still gonna lose weight.
Yeah.
But so what does like an eating day look like for you? Do you meal prep everything the night before, the week before? How do you like to do it?
I meal prep on Sundays and either Wednesday and Thursday, because like my food, I do it in bulk, so it like lasts 4 to 5 days. And
then it's time to do it again.
Yeah, so it's like Sundays, I do it every Sunday no matter what, and then 5 days after that. So
okay,
like
perfect.
Thursday or Friday.
And like what's a full day look like usually? Like breakfast and then.
So breakfast, I like memorize all everything. If you want me to list it out.
I mean, I was gonna say I probably have mine like basically memorized too.
I have 1 whole egg, 6 ounces of egg whites, 3 slices of cinnamon raisin toast, Ezekiel toast. It's like the multi-grain one, and then 16 grams of nut butter.
Okay.
And then second meal, that's my pre-workout meal, so it's like 90 grams of cream of rice, 16 grams of nut butter, and then 3.5 ounces of lean meat. And then meal 4, post-workouts, 220 grams of rice, 2 ounces of guac or avocado, 3.5 ounces of lean meat. Then fourth meal is the same as that one, and then the fifth meal is 150 grams of rice or potatoes, like 6 ounces of potatoes, and then 3.5 ounces of salmon.
Okay,
so,
yeah, I got mine memorized too because you do it every day, so you know it by heart.
I love being on a meal plan because you don't have to think; you just do it, and like.
And the thing is, when you're on a meal plan too, like you never feel like shit.
Yeah, it's consistency.
That's the thing. Like you do, if you have a cheat meal or something, you know you did it because you feel like shit afterwards.
Yeah, and like I get my free meals on Sunday, but I don't go overboard. I just like eat a meal and enjoy it.
Just like one nice cheat meal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that is tough to not go overboard. You got to keep it just to like one meal usually.
Well, I also remember, I have 3 meals after this. I'm not going to I don't want to be full when I'm eating those 3 meals because I still have to get those meals in.
Because they have to go down, right?
Yeah. So the cheat meal doesn't take away from your other meals. It's just one meal off plan. That's it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's how the coach puts it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nelson, he wrote, because I love the way that he writes his programs. He'll, talk to you like you're on the phone, but he'll write it in his emails, and he'll be like, it doesn't have to be a party. Just go out and enjoy a meal, my friend.
Yeah.
And he, writes that down in the program.
Right, it doesn't have to turn into a giant cheat day where you just eat all day.
Yeah, I love the way that he
It's one free meal,
things.
yeah. Do you have any favorite free meals?
I really like sandwiches.
Just like a sandwich?
Yeah.
Like from any specific spot or no?
No, anything, honestly.
Like something you make yourself?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite free meals.
I've kind of recently just been like off cheat meals, just because like I don't know. I went through a phase where I was like really too much into it. Like
Really?
yeah, after I got lean, I started eating way too much,
Yeah.
like binging on stuff. Like I'd get home and I'd be like, because like last time when Sam was on here, he's like, but what was happening? Well, he's like, you get so lean that you feel like you start feeling superhuman because like you start like eating a bunch of stuff you're not supposed to, but then the next day you wake up and you look shredded. Cause you're like,
yeah, it's like the power of a refeed.
yeah, and it's like then you start being like, oh, maybe I can do that again, and you keep doing it, and it keeps working, and then I'll, before long, you're like have this bad habit, and I'm like, I gotta quit this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I had to like, I don't know, just kind of refocus. You know what I mean?
That's why like reversing out of a show or like reverse dieting in general is so crucial and
important, right?
And you have to do it right.
Yeah, that's like a big nightmare of mine is like the people that gain like 30 or 40 pounds in a week like right after a show. And
yeah, like because I reversed right after my first show, so my calories and like my food had been increasing since my first show up until my last show, so I only really had to get depleted for like 3 months.
Right.
And then from there the food only went up.
But you did it really slow.
Very slow.
You didn't, you didn't crash your metabolism or overspill. Like,
I actually ended up losing weight, eating more food, and then I got, like, down to my very leanest, like, all-time leanest. It was too lean, and then, like, food continuously, like, went up, and I was just getting fuller and, like,
then you
building
started to
muscle
gain
at the
again.
same time.
Yeah. Okay.
I was able to, like, body recomp and all that into my last show, and like I was able to put on good size.
Yep.
As well.
Was that probably your best show?
Yeah, that was my best. My last show was my best package.
Okay.
Cause that's where I got my card, my pro card.
Yeah.
So, just like understanding the criteria and not going overboard in like the conditioning and this and that, just like.
And then like for conditioning, what do you do? Quite a bit of cardio or just?
I was doing, I think 45 minutes of fasted cardio 7 days a week from like all of my prep. It started out at like 20 minutes and then we would gradually increase, and then the highest it got was 45 minutes 7 days a week.
Right, it's always kind of good to like start it small.
Yeah, and then gradually add up. And then as of right now, my cardio is 5 days a week, 25, 30 minutes.
Yeah, about in the middle. Yeah.
And then just keeping my heart rate consistent, so like 135.
Yep. What do you do for cardio? You like to do the stairs or do you do walking?
I do incline walking.
Right, that's I like that too. It's like
it's not too taxing on your body. It's good with recovery as well.
Right, and it definitely doesn't it doesn't stress hormone you out.
Yeah.
And you get in that steady state of just burning fat. I like to watch movies and stuff when I'm doing it, like on my phone.
I just like listen to music, or actually I listen to music, but then I do like envisioning in my head, so I just kind of like imagine things and like daydream, and it just gets me through it.
Do you like envision goals and stuff like that too a little bit? Yeah, they say that's really good to do.
Yeah, I like all my prep, I kind of like imagine myself walking on stage and like doing my routine and just like how I'm gonna do it, this and that, and like right after like my last show and like getting into the improvement / off season, I still do that every cardio session, just like imagining what my next season is gonna look like, and just like going through the motions.
Yeah, that's really important to do, because it's like
it prepares.
It's almost like you're mentally training yourself. Even like imagining your posing routine and stuff, like in your head, just going through it, right? Like it's probably super good for you. God, I wonder how I turn that onto silent. I don't know. Anyways, not a big deal. But yeah, that's pretty awesome. So when is your next show coming up?
I actually don't know, but I do know that it is going to be this year. I just don't know when.
And so are you, what stage are you in right now? Are you bulking?
I'm
or
just
kind of
like
recomp in the middle somewhere?
I'm trying to build muscle right now, but I'm not in a huge surplus. I'm just like eating the like maintenance, like we're not trying to put on any like a ton of fat. We're just trying to build muscle and work on my weaknesses.
Okay.
But Nelson did say, he sent me my like check-ins back yesterday. he said like we're gonna like we'll look into shows this year.
Okay,
And all
so he
that.
finds your shows for you?
Yeah, I asked him to. I said, "Can you decide what shows we do because I want you to take lead and like this and that because I put all my trust in Nelson. Like he's gotten me to the point where I'm at now, and there's no one I trust more."
Yeah, because he's gonna make sure it's the right fit for you. I'm sure.
I did tell him I want to do Tampa Pro. That's one of the shows that I would like to do this year. Because it's a bigger show and it would be a good indicator to see where I truly stand.
Okay, so now that would be a bigger show than any you've ever done.
Yeah, because I think it's a bigger pro show as well. There's like 500 competitors in each division, I think. It's a big show, and like I want to start from the bottom and work my way up in the pro league because I know that like I have a lot of room to grow, but it's like, and like somebody actually brought this up to me. It's a good point. You know, I could be in an off season for a few more years and really build, but it's like I'm never really going to know what I need to work on unless I go and get that feedback.
From the shows.
From the
So you want
shows.
the judges' feedback so
Yeah.
that's going to affect...
So I can really improve.
Right, so
'Cause,
that's
like-
going to affect what you're training, how you're training, what you're trying to bring up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because how can you get better if you're not doing the shows,
Exactly.
right?
Because, like, for me, and, like, also, like, one thing that I thought of is, like, you need to push yourself out of your comfort zone. Like, obviously, I'm comfortable in my improvement season right now. I'm super, like, I'm gaining strength. I'm gaining muscle. I'm gaining weight. Like, I'm making the improvements that I need to make. But I can't just keep riding this high. I kind of need to, like, get new feedback so I can have new things to work on as well and see what else I need to do.
Right, so you're always kind of focused on the big picture, huh? Yeah,
So that's why it's
that's
like,
a good thing. It's because, like, a lot of people focus on just short-term everything. Like, what am I going to do this weekend? When am I going to play this video game? What can I eat? It's cool that you're thinking in such long-term or, like, and you know, like, getting out of your comfort zone definitely is what's going to make you better. So even when you're doing good, like you said, you have this momentum, but at some point, if you don't challenge yourself again, that's going to start to, like, fizzle out,
and you're
right?
going to plateau.
Yeah, you start plateauing.
Yeah, so that's why I was just like, you know, even though like I'm having a great time in my improvement season, it's time to, you know, it's time to get back into it and see where I stand
Right.
in this like whole new league and everything.
Right. Do you feel like it's kind of like you just know when the right time for those new things are? Like,
Yeah, I've had this like gut feeling and like this intuition that I'm going to be starting prep pretty soon.
yeah.
I don't know when, but I
It's as
just
soon
have
as-
a gut feeling that it's coming soon.
So it's like you're going to stay ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. And is that kind of your goal with what you guys are doing? Is so you're not too far away ever from, like, the possibility of you could always do a show almost?
Yeah.
Where you're not too far away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Nelson said we want to make sure we have a lot of time as well to be prepared and everything. Because, like, Nelson, he really takes into account, like, my mental health. Like, he always asks me, like, how are you doing mentally, this and that. Like, he always
Yeah.
checks
That's a
up
good
on me.
coach.
And, like, it's really, I have so much respect for him for doing that because it's, like, you know, you can, like, be looking amazing on the outside, but, like, on the inside, you could be, like, this
Well, and a lot of
that.
times, I mean, that's what makes a good coach is if they
Mm-hmm.
take a personal interest in you and it's not just about this,
Yeah.
like, transactional
Yeah.
thing, you know?
This is the one thing that I just love. Nelson, like, he talks to you and treats you like you're his friend, and you are his friend. Like,
Yeah.
he's such a good and down-to-earth, genuine person, and, like, you know, there are some other, like, coaches in the industry that, like, kind of treat their clients like transactions and, like, use them as advertisement, and this and that, and, like, I get it. Like, all of this is a business, this and that, but
Right.
it's, like, you don't have to constantly promote and take credit for, like, you know, like, constantly, like, just use your clients as
Right.
marketing tools.
Right.
You know, like,
and he definitely doesn't need to. He's really successful,
his work
right?
speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
he is so
If you do a good
amazing.
job, it'll speak for itself.
Yeah, and, like, obviously I'm not saying, like, don't market or
No,
advertise,
no,
but, like,
no.
you know, there's certain coaches that do it for the wrong reasons.
Well, or it just feels really cookie cutter or
Yeah.
transactional. Like, it feels like everything they're giving you is just, like,
For money.
a cookie cutter thing that they give the same thing to
Yeah.
everybody. and they're not like tailoring anything to your specific needs.
Uh-huh.
That's how you know you have a good coach, when they just like...
And there's like coaches, and I don't know this for a fact, but like one of my friends worked with a coach, and she found out that they were using the same program for every single client.
Like nothing
and it's like,
different.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird. It's like, well, then why are you a coach if you're not even going to put effort into your clients'
specific needs? Yeah. I know, that's crazy. Especially when you get to the point, with you guys where you're doing these shows where everything is like these tiny little, subjective things that these judges focus on.
Yeah.
So for every one of you guys, it's going to be like a different thing. Like you said, for you, your quads are overly strong. You have overactive quads. So like you need to bring up like the glutes, the hamstrings, the shoulders, or the delts, the back. Like, well, that's going to be different for one of the other clients. So if he's just having you guys all do the same thing, he's clearly not looking at your own specific needs or anything.
That's why I love, because Nelson, after my last show, I remember like he was like backstage like waiting for me and everything, and he was so proud and this and that, and I remember asking him, I was just like, so what happens now? And he's like, okay, I want you to go wait in that line and get feedback from Sandy, which is the head judge at the last show. So he was just like, for you, I need you to wait in line and get that feedback, because I don't know, we need to figure out what we need to do and work on. So I waited in line for about an hour after the show to get my feedback, and then from there I told Nelson, and he was like, perfect, we have what we need. And then he got to work and structured your
entire workout plan
and
all
like
around
my
that
food and everything, and he knew what I needed to work on.
Okay, so what are some of your favorite lifts and everything that he's got you doing?
I love hip thrusts now.
Yeah.
Because I used to do them wrong and I wouldn't have good execution. So Nelson taught me to explode on the concentric and then really slow down on the negative.
Yes.
And like pause at the top, so you have that like lockout and that contraction.
So you're exploding and then you're pausing, and then on the eccentric you're going super slow. Okay.
And like the contraction's amazing. So I love it like when I have a good hip thrust day, and like I have a love-hate relationship with barbell squats.
Right, they're hard.
They're hard and they're taxing.
They're very taxing on the body. I know, like one of my friends who's a power lifter, he's really trying to get people to squat again.
Yeah.
He's like, nobody squats anymore.
It's really beneficial. It works. It's a compound movement, so it's working every muscle in your body.
But that's why it's so taxing too, right? Yeah.
I like...
They're hard. You get done with them, you're like, oh my God, I don't know if I have much left for the rest of the workout.
I sometimes cry when I do them, because I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. But then you feel so good after. You
really do, and I think they really change your body a lot. Deadlifts and squats for sure. Yeah. Both are like, they're so... Nothing changes your body like that. It feels like.
I have a lot of deadlifts in my program, like different.
Do you really? Yeah, lots of different ones.
Like straight leg deadlifts, RDLs.
Yep.
All that.
Yeah, RDLs are really good. I like. I think they're super good.
I love RDLs.
You get that like stretch. You know what I mean? It's like it feels so good. Like actually today I did legs yesterday, and then I had a client.
Same with me.
Right, and I had like a client this morning, and we were doing his lower body day. And I was just showing him how to do them, and I'm like, oh my God, that feels so amazing. My legs are so tight from yesterday. Like, I needed to stretch them out, and then you feel better once you get moving and stretch them out.
Yeah, exactly.
I think actually after this, I'm going to go do some cardio, because I still got to do my cardio for the day. And that's going to be really good before bed, just to kind of move around, just because my legs are so sore.
And did you train today or no?
Today was my rest day also.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I had 2 clients with like about an hour in between. So in the hour I kind of did some movements, just like did some stretching, because my legs are so sore. So I just like I did a couple sets of kettlebell swings, just because they're fun for me. I don't know. And then I did like some ab stuff, and then I just basically like stretched out my legs and kind of like, did like cat cow and like just some like basic stuff to try to loosen up. And then I think later tonight I'm just going to go back and finish my cardio, because it's like to that point where like we can't be skipping cardio anymore.
That's so much respect for you for doing cardio at night. I could never do cardio at night. I have to do it fasted in the morning.
Well, it feels better fasted in the morning. Like what I'm going to do though is just like you said, walk on an incline. It's not going to be nothing crazy, but
and watch movie.
Watch a movie or something. I want to get. I'm gonna like. I've been trying. So he's got me prescribed with like the stair stepper for like level 5 for like 30 minutes, and so I need to get back to that because that's actually harder.
Yeah.
But I do like walking for what like the reason you said. It's like it burns so much fat, but it's like, it's not like the stress hormones, and it's not like taxing on the body in a way.
And your cortisol levels don't like
Yeah,
spike
that's
up.
especially for like natural people. I think that's like super.
My water retention was so bad when I was in prep at first because I was walking a little too fast.
Right, that's what people don't get. Like sometimes it's like you'll get a better look in your body when you're doing less, not less cardio, but when you're not stressing the body.
Going as fast, yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes that cardio, like you'll overdo some of it.
And then it burns into, like it goes into your muscles as well. Like you could.
Yeah, you can get like where you end up like getting like skinny fat almost, or like mess up your
lanky.
hormones.
Yeah.
Just kind of overtraining in general, especially for like I said, natural lifters and stuff.
Yeah, it's so scary.
You gotta be careful of like hormones and stuff.
Like for me, that's why I need to be just on plan to a T, or else I'm gonna set myself up for failure. If I overtrain, like, I could risk losing progress and all that.
Right, isn't that weird? And your coach helped you figure that out?
Yeah, Nelson changed my outlook on all that stuff because I used to think more was better, and I used to stay away from sugar because you have that stigma that like sugar's bad for you, this and that. And then when I saw that he put 20 ounces of Gatorade and 2 Rice Krispie treats in my meal plan.
You're like, what are you doing?
I was just like, huh? And I was just like, do I do this? And then I was like, yes, you're going to do it.
You have to follow the plan.
And then I did it, and I felt amazing. And I was just like, wow, this is great. And then
because your body's using it, right?
Yeah, so then now I'm just like, this is great. Like, I don't think anything about sugar, and there's like no negative connotations with it now.
Yes, because
so
there's
Nelson has helped me a lot.
Yeah, there's such a negative stigma about carbs and sugar.
Yeah, and those like stayed with me in the beginning, and like working with Nelson just showed me like you need those things in order to do well. Like carbs are not the enemy.
You're fueling your body with it. It's like, and you have to replenish your glycogen stores, all that kind of stuff. Like, but you grow up with like. Especially because you have anxiety too. You're like overthinking all the food. Like, I can't eat this. I can't ever eat that. I can't ever have a cookie, or I can't ever have a Rice Krispie treat.
When I saw like he put this amount of rice in my meal plan for like 3 meals, I was just like, huh? Like that's like in total like so many grams of rice. And then
but when you started eating it, you started feeling really good.
Yeah, and the results were amazing, and I was just like, wow, like this is so eye-opening. And I just like proved myself wrong. He proved me wrong.
Right. It's like your body actually needs that stuff. It's crazy.
And you actually need to feed yourself.
Right.
To grow.
Right. That's the other thing. And especially coming from your past with the eating disorder, like the idea of like thinking that like starving yourself is going to give you the result you want. And that's so not true, right?
No, not at all. It does the opposite.
I know. Yeah, you can't really build a good physique with no fuel, with no building blocks.
Because, like, you can train long, grueling hours at the gym, but it's not going to mean anything unless you actually, like, replenish your muscles.
Right, yeah.
And all that.
You got to hit that meal because that's going to replenish. I mean, it's going to give you the protein, it's the building blocks, and then the muscle glycogen has to get restored. That's your energy source and all that.
Yeah.
Like,
and, like, Nelson also taught me, like, I kind of like saw in his meal plan the carb to protein ratio. The carbs are higher than the protein in my pre and post.
Did that creep you out a little bit?
No, it was eye opening. I was just like, oh, so this is actually what I'm supposed to be doing, because like I used to overeat protein and like
too much protein. So and you're like, oh man, he has actually like more carbs than protein. This is crazy.
So I was just like, wow, like this is cool stuff to learn and like soak in.
Now, is that something that you ever want to do in the future? Maybe coach people, or? I
haven't announced it at all, but I have 2 clients right now that I'm coaching, and that is all I'm taking right now because I don't want people to think that, oh, like she's, only been competing for 1 year. Why is she coaching people?
Yeah.
I was very scared. So I'm only taking 2 clients, and those clients, I'm giving them 100% all my attention, like.
Right, so not taking on too many.
Yeah, I'm only taking on 2. That is it.
And you're learning from it. Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Because I know my place in the industry, and I will always stay in my own lane. And I'm so young, so I don't want people to think that I think I'm like this big shot, which I'm
right.
not.
It's like that stigma
Yeah.
where everyone's like, you know, so and so does one show and then all of a sudden they're a trainer.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Like,
And like what people don't know is I have my NASM and I've been training people throughout high school, so I do
Yeah.
have experience in that field, and like I've been writing workout programs and meal plans for my friends in high school, so
right. So you
so I
have the
that
experience.
yeah, and like I have that passion that goes into it. So, you know, again, just to stay in my own lane, I'm only taking on 2 clients because I am no expert and I still have a lot
Right,
to
but
learn.
you know that you're humble, but also don't, you know, you shouldn't let that stop you from doing it if you're qualified
Yeah,
either.
I mean,
Because that's another
people
thing where
don't
you're worrying
know.
about what people think of you and you
Yeah.
don't, you know,
Like yesterday, my client actually posted like a glute pump after her leg day, and she like tagged me and she said like, for those of you who don't know, I got a coach, and then
Yeah.
she tagged me, so I obviously reposted it because I'm proud of her. Like, she's made so much progress and like has
Right.
put on a lot of muscle. So I like reposted it, and I had somebody slide up and be like, what the heck, you coach people now? And I was just like, I'm only taking on 2 clients. I know my place. I'm always going to stay in my own lane. And
right. I would say don't let those people stop you
and like
from
that
doing
person
that.
was just like, well, I would recommend taking this college or like this and that. And I was just like, I understand, like, thank you, I appreciate it. So now all day yesterday I had anxiety that like everybody who
Yeah,
saw my
but-
story thought that I was like
Okay, but
bragging.
you put in the time to
Yeah.
learn this thing. You have so much experience in it, and then you put in the time to like get your NASM certification.
Yeah, I got it I think the beginning of because I was 18
Yeah.
when I got it. The beginning of last year. I did it in the beginning of prep.
And how was the test for you?
It wasn't hard because
It
it was
wasn't
stuff
hard.
that I already learned in college. Like, because I did running start in high school, which was like dual enrollment with Bellevue College. So I took a nutrition class and an anatomy class and like
Yeah.
physical education. So like it was an easy test for me.
Right, because it's one of the harder tests for personal training. I just took it and I was like surprised. Like it.
I did not get a perfect score, obviously.
Oh no! But I passed. Yeah,
I passed
I was like.
as well.
But then I talked to some people where they're like, "Man, you passed that in the first try." They're like, "Holy shit!" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like,
I got it my first try too, just like my
Yeah.
driver's test, which I cheated on.
"How'd you cheat on
I
it?"
found the answers on Google and I memorized the answers
Oh my god!
on the written portion.
Hey, that's one way to do it. Well, if you have it memorized, that's not really cheating because you learned it.
Yeah, that's
But you
true.
knew exactly which ones to study for then, I
So
suppose.
what I did was I looked at the questions and then I looked at the correct answer and I remembered the first word of that answer.
Yeah, there's always like those little ways to do that stuff with studying, right? Like
So then, because
I think I used to do that for spelling. Like I would come up with like little weird sayings, like how to do the spelling word. Like can't remember them, but I'd be like, you know, some kind of saying. I'll do that right. Like now that I'm doing the podcast, like when I go to like upload everything, and I have to try to remember like so I'm like putting something on
Do
TikTok.
you remember it in groups or something like that, or?
Well, yeah, that can work too, like for like names. But for me, it was always like sound of stuff.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
like I don't know. So like when I'm doing it, I have to remember how to spell people's because I'm always like really wanting to get everybody's name spelled right. And I think even like when I said like you know like your name's Tianna, but is that right?
Tianna.
Tianna.
You were very close.
So Tianna, like Diana. That's how I'm gonna remember it. Diana, Tianna. But it's like I found like the beginning of each show. I'm always like. It's like, hey, this is welcome to the Nicky Free Podcast, and then I'm always like, is that how you say it? I'm like, I gotta quit doing that. Like at the beginning of the show, I'm trying to like make it better, but it's like it's a bad habit because I'm like I'm wanting to get people's names right, and then when I go post everything, I have to be like, and some people's names are crazy, like their last name, like even my last name, I wouldn't know how to spell it if I, you know, wasn't.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't even make sense. It's like I before E, except after C, but in my name it's like FREID. You know, like. So it doesn't really make sense, but then some of these people's last names are crazy, so I have to like sit there and type it, and then sometimes now I've just been copy and pasting, but then like every post I make, I'm always like, did I spell their name?
Yeah.
I gotta check it. Or like I put Seth's episode up, and I was like, oh no, I only have one L at his last name's Carol, and then I had to go redo everything, so I had to like delete the post, repost it with the new artwork with 2 L's at the end, because I'm like paranoid about like. I don't know. It just tries like if I went on somebody's podcast and they put all this stuff up on social media and then they have my name spelled wrong, I kind of be like, damn, screw that guy. So I'm like, I want to make sure I get everybody's, you know, because the goal is to promote people on here. So I want to get everybody's stuff right, you know. But I don't know. It's hard to memorize that stuff, but memorizing's good.
Yeah.
Like, especially for tests.
That's how I study. Just memorize it. Well, actually, I feel like that's how most people study, just memorizing.
Yeah, and whatever kind of tricks you can use.
For me, I learn if I write stuff down.
That's a trick. You can, like, write something down over and over and over again, and pretty soon you're like, oh, I have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how I study.
Like, how about NASM? Like, you just write down the OPT model over and over.
Exactly.
Yeah, until you get it down.
I did that. I think I did it 8 times, and I had my mom, like, make me a practice test, and we just practiced in the living room.
Right. It was kind of nice. So I studied it online with, like, the modules and stuff, and so they had a practice quiz in there.
Yeah.
Or practice test, actually, and I just took that, like, 5 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know they had a practice test. My mom, because she,
yeah,
like, was the one that bought, like, the book and everything for me and all that, and she didn't see
Maybe it was different. You just got it, or was it a few years?
a year ago.
Oh, no, I'm pretty sure they have a practice, because I, like, took the practice test, like, 5 times, and then, like, every time it was different, and you'd get a better score each time, like, okay, I'm getting this stuff. And then by the time I took the test, I passed it, but I was, like, so glad that I took the practice test.
I have a friend who's trying to get her NASM as well, so...
Oh, if I have some, like, good study guides.
Really?
Yeah, like, there was a free one, and then there was one that I bought for, like, $75 off this, like, dude that sells, he's, like...
My mom got mine from Amazon. They sell
The study guide?
The study guide there.
The study guide helps so much, because it cuts out all the, like... stuff that you don't need to know, and it's like, here's the stuff you actually need to know.
Yeah.
And it just simplifies it, because those books get pretty dense sometimes.
Yeah, and like in the book I noticed like there were things that weren't even on the test that were in the book that
a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It was like, because that's what that study guide is, like, don't even read this
just
chapter,
condensed down.
don't even read this chapter, read these 2 parts of this chapter, that's all you need. Like, it told you exactly what you need to pass it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if your friend needs a study guide, I think I still have those. Yeah.
I'm probably gonna like, cause I took the test last year, so she like wanted me to remember the answers, and I was just like, no, I don't even remember.
Well, and the other thing is
they probably changed the test.
They're gonna be all
year.
different.
Yeah.
Every time I took the practice test, the questions were different. And then when
they were worded differently.
And when I got the final test, it was completely different.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, yeah. I had to take mine like a proctored test, so it was like they're watching you through your computer.
Yeah.
Is that what you did?
The camera, like, what's it called? It was like that app that you have to download, Vera something.
Right, it was that thing.
I had to do that as well, because I was in Thailand when I did it.
Right, and it was probably still kind of during COVID protocol, or like, I think that's why they still, because other people, you have to go to like a center and test in person. I'm like, I'm glad I didn't have to do that.
I'm glad I didn't have to do that either, because I would have anxiety.
Yeah, it's like more pressure, because you're around a bunch of other people.
But then I was like in an area, I was just on the couch taking it. And
right, I was like literally right here taking it.
And like obviously they were staring at me through the screen.
That was a little weird.
It was weird because I like had to sneeze at one point, and I was just like, I can't leave the camera or like get up, because they're obviously going to be like, oh, she's probably getting an answer or something.
Oh,
so,
they
like,
would think that, I'm sure.
So I just like had to hold in my sneeze like 5 times during the test, and I'm sure the person watching me was probably like, what is this girl doing?
Yeah, what is this girl doing? She's like, yeah, that's funny, because they probably would think that, because honestly, they're pretty hardcore.
Yeah, and like I had to pee during the test. Obviously I couldn't, because I needed to finish the test, and I just had to wait. That's
so funny, because at the end I was the exact same thing. I was like, I really have to pee, and I looked down, I'm like, okay, there's only 20 questions left, I can do this. And I was like, what if you did have to like pee right before, and you'd be like, what are they gonna do?
I didn't use the bathroom before either, because I didn't think it would take me too long, because I had studied, but it took me a while.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's like, it can be a long test. It just depends how long you take on each question or whatever. But I was like, I mean, I drink so much water, so I'm like, dang, you know. And then they make you like place your phone behind you or whatever. And
my mom took my phone from me.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not gonna cheat. I know.
She did it in front of the camera too, because she's so anal. So she was like, I want them to see.
Yeah.
So she like went like this, and she's like, okay, and then she took my phone, and I was just like, great.
So your mom, she's pretty driven, huh?
Very. We do not condone cheating or anything. We always do the long way in my house.
Well, that's a good quality that she's instilling in you, like, not to take the easy route.
Always the hard way. And like,
well, the respectable way.
Yeah,
like, don't take shortcuts.
Exactly, because there's no shortcuts in life.
No, that's good that she's teaching you that. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, it's like you can coddle your kids, but
Mm-hmm.
when they get into the real world, like you said, like you're
Mm-hmm.
going to be so happy that she's been hard on you because
Yeah.
you're going to be able to handle
I'm
anything.
very thankful for like my upbringing because
Hmm.
I kind of look at it as like leverage in a way because I have knowledge on certain aspects that other people might not understand or this and that.
Oh, right.
So I'm very thankful.
Well, a lot of people around your age have zero discipline at the time. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's just, which is okay too. I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
fun. You have fun. But I think it's good to get some of that stuff instilled in you.
Mm-hmm. I think it's like when you have a passion, you'll do anything to achieve what you want to get out of that passion.
Right.
And passion is what drives me.
It is. That's funny because I was talking to a friend of mine who he's kind of like his goal in life is more like to have fun.
Yeah.
So like he's like more like let's go to Adventureland, let's do this, and like
Mm-hmm.
if I can get my life to a point where I can work the least amount of possible time, like that's when
Mm-hmm.
he's because he likes to spend time with friends, family,
Yeah.
and he's more of the opinion of like I want to eat what I want to eat and
Mm-hmm.
enjoy food and enjoy this and like, and I think he does have a good mentality in life. It's
Yeah.
kind of opposite of mine, but then we were talking about like, but when he was passionate about achieving this goal, he had zero problem putting in the work.
Mm-hmm.
Because when it's something that's like you really want to achieve it, it doesn't even feel like work. I mean, it still is
Mm-hmm.
really hard,
Yeah.
but it feels like you're going in the direction that you want to go.
Yeah, exactly. And it
And
feels less like an obligation, but more of just kind of like a norm.
mhm.
Like what you're used to.
Well, and it feels like you're on your correct path in life.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And I feel like if you're on a path that you feel proud of, it makes you feel less anxiety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, where if you're getting away from that path, you can feel it. You're like, oh
Yeah.
no, this doesn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
So
And also, like, your gut always tells you if something's wrong. It's so weird how your gut is always right.
I think so too. And then that's why like it's weird how your gut actually sends like even
It's
scientifically
like warning signs. I
like
think.
not even talking about the gut as like gut, like I think it is a gut instinct, but also like I think there's
in your
actually
heart.
science between
Yeah.
it. Cause like it's like they say like your gut health affects your brain, everything. So
Yeah.
like that's why
Maybe that's why people, like, at least for me, I get really bad stomach aches when I'm anxious.
oh yeah.
Like, like when you have that nervous feeling in your stomach.
Yeah, I could imagine that.
Yeah.
Well, and that's like why people try to focus on gut health and everything. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, but also, yeah, like following your heart and stuff. Like in
Mm-hmm.
that sense too. Like
Yeah.
I think the universe kind of will tell you like if you're going in the right direction or not. If
Yeah.
it's like, my friend always calls it like her sparkly path. Like,
Yeah.
she's like, you're doing like the right thing in life if you feel sparkly about it.
Yeah. No, that's a good way of
It's a
putting
good
it.
way.
Yeah.
Like she just means like it's where it feels like that good feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So she was the one that helps people with eating disorders, and so like
Mm-hmm.
that was her. So working in the bar wasn't necessarily her thing, and now
Yeah.
that she's gotten to where she's helping other people with eating disorders because she's gotten her master's and she's like working in that field.
Mm-hmm.
As a psychologist, like she feels like that's her path, and
Mm-hmm.
that's where she's meant to be.
Yeah.
So when you find that, I feel like life gets really good.
No, honestly, for me, when I was in middle school, the person that I am now, I never would have imagined that I would have
Achieve what you've achieved.
Yeah, because I used to like not be into like bodybuilding or muscles like back in like elementary and a little bit of middle school. I used to like the stick thin look and all that.
Really?
I used to want to be like a model, but like obviously that.
But the idea of model was so bad back then.
Yeah, and like honestly, that's kind of what like.
Because I
started.
think models have gotten kind of healthier again.
Yeah, they're doing a lot like more normal body types.
They
in
are,
campaigns
and that's
now.
probably a good thing.
It's refreshing, like you walk into a store and you don't see a size -5 anymore.
Yeah, because there was definitely a period, and especially like when I was a kid, like early 2000s and stuff, there was definitely almost a period where it was like the look that was in for models was like,
It was very unhealthy.
yeah, it was almost like coke, like they were on drugs or
Yeah.
something, like really
Because their under eyes
sunk
would
in it,
be.
and they'd have like the black, like almost like their eyes looked like they've been doing drugs. And
Yeah. I I think that was like, it's kind of weird how like every year there's like a new standard.
Yeah,
Like,
so that
with
changes kind of similarly
Yeah.
to bikini, right? Like,
Kind of, yeah.
well, or just like anything, there's always like a
It
different.
like evolves, you know.
The culture evolves, yeah, and so I think that it's definitely in a healthier place now.
Yeah.
Look,
I like how bikini's kind of like going to more of that attainable look as well. It's healthier.
I think so too. It's probably healthier.
Yeah, and it makes me feel better because it's like, okay, now I kind of have like a guideline of what I need to do. Because at first I was like, do they want me to be jacked or do they want me to be this and that? Like when I was first getting into all of this.
Right, and then that's probably where it gets a little less healthy trying to get that look. I don't know. I feel like the natural look is better.
I agree. That's why I want to stay in bikini.
Yeah.
Because like I've had a few people be like, would you ever switch divisions? But I don't think I would.
If you would, if you were going to, what other one would you go to?
Wellness.
Yeah, that's the. I don't really know much about them. So
It's
what?
more lower body dominant, a little less upper body. So your quads
Okay.
and glutes are very.
So you could get the legs a little bit built out more.
Yeah, and like less upper body.
Okay.
And it's a very hard and dense look.
So a little more hard and dense.
A lot more hard and
A
dense.
lot more hard.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to look. I need
Wellness
to.
girls are out of this world. They are insane.
Like
I am
jacked.
not on that level.
Yeah.
I am nowhere near that level.
Yeah, that's
They're like
crazy.
different species.
So what is you say those categories again? You got bikini. There's wellness.
There's figure.
And what's figure?
Figure is. How do I explain it? It's like. Their front pose is different, and they're obviously more upper body focused, and like obviously legs and stuff. But like, it's.
But are they as jacked as like the
way more? Yeah.
way more than bikini or equal to
I'd say.
wellness?
And
You said it was wellness was the other one?
Yeah, wellness. So there's bikini, wellness, figure, fitness, and then women's bodybuilding. So women's bodybuilding, I kind of think of it as like open division for men, but that's obviously open division for women.
Right.
So I think of it like that. And then like classic physique for men, that's kind of like the equivalent to wellness.
Oh.
And that's how
So they're really jacked.
That's how I think of it. Obviously, I am completely wrong. Like, other people think of it differently, but that's how I kind of, like,
That's your
categorize
interpretation
them.
of
Yeah,
it.
interpretation of them.
Okay.
I don't want people to think I'm, like, setting...
No, it's just
points on
I was
others.
trying to understand the
Yeah.
different... Because, I mean, honestly, I don't even understand the
And then,
classes
like,
in the males.
I think
so.
of men's physique kind of like bikini.
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
good. It's like, kind of like... To me, that one's more like aesthetic.
Yeah.
Where the other ones get to be more about like size monsters.
And then like 212, that division, I kind of think of it like figure.
Yeah.
But like, you know, those are just, that's how I categorize it.
That makes sense. However you make it, have it make sense to you.
It's how my brain works.
Yeah.
I just like compare and contrast.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I do that with stuff all the time. But yeah, that's interesting because I'm doing men's physique this year, but I don't know much about. I'm just going to, like you said, put my faith in my coach and trust the process and everything. And I'm looking forward to it because it's, like, very scary.
Yeah, it's a whole, you learn so much about yourself in prep. Like, honestly, it changes you. Like, whether you go into it already, like, the most amazing person, you're always going to leave better than what you were before.
It's definitely already, it's going to change. It's going to change because all of a sudden, like, there is no room. At least for me, there is no room for any of the BS.
Yeah, exactly. And you're very committed, obviously. So.
Yeah, I just like got the last since I started prep and a few weeks before it, I just realized like some of these bad habits I had. I'm like, well, there's zero tolerance for this anymore.
Yeah, you just kind of kick those out the door.
Yeah, like if I'm a little bit hungry and I want an extra scoop of protein, like I can't.
Yeah.
Like it's got to be that serious.
It's kind of funny because. I mean, my mom told me, she said the moment that she found out she was pregnant with me, everything changed. And I kind of thought of it like prep, too. It's like, the moment you're in prep, everything changes.
It's totally changes.
Like, no more
everything.
room for games anymore. You have to be dialed in.
There's no more room for that other part of yourself that's always like, hey, just do this.
Yeah,
or, hey, like
exactly.
You're like, that voice... It's like,
turn
you're
it off.
done.
Yeah.
Like, you can't say shit
it's
now.
It's history now.
It is. It's like, no, I'm in charge now. You're out. Like the one who wants to like go overboard on their cheat meal or do this, like you're gone, you're done.
It's out the window.
The one that's like, well, I'm not gonna do my cardio today. That one's gone. Like he's like you can't do. Or the one that's like, oh, I'll just half-ass my lift today. Like it's you just can't do it anymore.
Yeah, you can't. You have to give it 100%. That's why you go into everything as in like. You kind of think of it as a battle. Everything's a battle. Like every workout that I have to mentally prepare in the car because it's going to be hard and torturous. But
yeah, like it's gonna hurt.
Like you gotta push past failure in order to grow, and like especially for me, I need to put on more size, so I need to really push myself.
I feel like it almost has to get scary.
It is. Yeah. I cry on leg days sometimes. Like I have tears, not from like pain or anything, but just how mentally and like physically taxing it is, because it's like I know I can do more,
like
and
you
then
just went to battle with yourself.
Yeah,
basically.
Exactly.
You're like fighting against the demons, kind of. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It gets intense.
Yeah, like, I like it though. It's hard in the moment, but it's rewarding.
So rewarding. It's like I always feel bad. Like some people never understand that feeling of like doing something really challenging that you don't necessarily want to do, but you know that if you do it, you're going to feel great.
Exactly. Like when I trained people in high school, I remember we would try to get 15 reps for a certain exercise, and once they got to 15 reps, they were like, okay, we're done. And I was like, oh no, that was just like a baseline. We're going to go until you can't go anymore.
You're like, that was just the warm-up.
Yeah. Like I was just like, you always have more than you think. You know, the mind gives up before the body sometimes.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's definitely true. There's people that, I mean, there's even people that would like, you know, make us look like nothing with the stuff that they do. Yeah, like there's like Navy SEALs out there. There's like people that run crazy marathons.
You know those people in the circus that like are on like, what are they called?
Like Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah, like those people when they're like in like America's Got Talent, those people that like put fire in their mouth, bounce.
Oh my
like,
God.
That makes us look like rookies.
Oh yeah, that stuff is crazy.
And it's crazy to think how capable and how much potential humans have.
Yeah, I always think that's the coolest part about fitness is like seeing the potential of the human body.
I love like in the women's divisions, fitness in particular, I love their routines. Like Missy, who won Miss Fitness Olympia this year, her routine was insane. Like the flips and everything.
Oh, she can do all the flips and stuff?
Yeah, she is insane.
Yeah, that stuff is insane. It's like crazy that we're the same species. Like you'll see somebody do something crazy and you're like, how are we the same species?
Like I always, like I did gymnastics, but I quit because like I didn't want to do it anymore. But I wish I stayed because I want to know how to do flips and all those cool tricks.
Do you think now it's like too late to do that
Way
stuff?
Too late.
Yeah, like so that is one thing about like gymnastics or stuff like that. Like you have to do it while you're young because your body has to grow that way.
And it's ingrained into your system.
Right, and it's almost like you don't develop the kind of body strength that it takes. Like those dudes that can like walk on their hands. Like
it's like calisthenics, all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's why like for me, I can't do more than 15 pull-ups because I never trained like calisthenics or anything like that.
Right. Yeah, pull-ups are great.
Like I have them in my program.
Really? Do you do banded or anything? Or
yeah.
I was gonna say I usually will have like even like my clients I'll have them do like the assisted ones because like the one
because you want to get that tension in your lats.
Right, and it's like actually if you can't even like pull properly like it's like we need to take some weight off you so that you're actually gonna do that. It's not always about the weight, you know.
That was one thing I had a hard time letting go was my ego because I used to power lift before.
Did you really? Like so that's where you like learn squats and deadlifts and stuff and
so like I had to learn to just drop the weight and work on the form when I
it's completely different, isn't it?
Very different. It's a whole new world and I love both, but I like bodybuilding a little bit more.
Right, it's totally different. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. It's always hard to make those changes, right? Or to be open to like something new and changing, you know what I mean? Like it's like you said, it's the ego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I catch myself, I'm like, okay, I want to squat 225, but I know I'm not going to be able to get more than 8 reps, so I'm not going to do it because I need to get 12 reps.
Oh, yeah, so then you know you have to go lighter because it's more about the rep range.
And the range of motion and everything.
About hypertrophy. You're not, it's not about just how heavy can I go. Yeah, that is tough to let that stuff go.
Yeah.
For sure. But the thing is, like, you're not competing for an amount of weight that you're lifting.
Yeah, like the judges, when you're on stage, they don't care about how much you bench. Like,
they don't care how you got the body you got.
Yeah, exactly. Like you could, somebody who like, for example, if you have like the physique of like a classic competitor and you go up on stage, they like you could not work out and still look like the judges won't care. You just have to look good.
If there was some magical dude who just like
yeah, exactly, like
didn't even work out,
speaking.
but they just looked like that and they looked more impressive, that's all that would matter. Yeah,
exactly.
It's really that is a unique thing about that sport. It's just like all based on appearance. Like,
but you would assume that everybody lifts weights and well they do, but you know
it is cool though. I just like how it you can make your body look a certain way. You know?
And it's also cool how genetics play such a big role in like how one's structure is and everything.
And then what parts you have to bring up, or like
it's
you
so
said,
individualized for every division.
Yeah, because it's like you said quads, so then you got to work at. So everyone's genetically going to have strengths and weaknesses, and then it's like, how do you bring up your weaknesses?
Yeah.
And like you said, sometimes you have to like not work out a certain body part because it's way over.
It's overpowering and all that.
Overpowering everything else, yeah.
It's really interesting.
So what do you think your goals are for this next year? Like, obviously, as soon as you get that show from your coach, you're going to be focused on that.
Yeah, I want to compete in a few pro shows this year. I really want to aim for at least 6 pro shows this year. So
coming up 2023, the goal is 6 pro shows.
Yeah, the goal is 6.
That's pretty cool.
5 or 6. I want to do a few, hopefully more, just because I really just want to work my, like I know I'm going to have to start from the bottom. I'm going to be like, very just like at rock bottom, and I kind of want to gradually work myself up, and in order to do that I need to get feedback, and based on the feedback I get, if I need to go into another off season, then I'll do that.
Right, which eventually you probably will, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But for now you want to do these shows because like you're ready for it, and why not do them?
Yeah, and like I've had this fire in me since like the day I stepped off of stage at my last show. I've been envisioning my time on that stage ever since, like every single day. So I'm just like, it's been 7 months now, and I'm like itching.
It's been a while, so you really want to get back.
I've been envisioning it, yeah.
That's good. You keep envisioning it. They that's like, people do that with so many things, and it's I don't know. That's important. So, well, that's gonna be a good year for you then.
Yeah, I'm excited, and like I'm excited to learn and grow, like mentally and physically.
Right.
And just like take all the criticism that I can get and like learn. And
learn from it, and yeah, you're definitely gonna get stronger in the next year. Do you have any other kind of hobbies or goals outside of bikini and lifting and bodybuilding for the next year or so?
I'm doing a double major because.
Oh, dang. So you're going to school.
Yeah, I go to Seattle U, so I'm majoring in business marketing and chemical engineering.
Okay.
So I really want to just like make sure my grades are on point and just like make my parents proud. And just like,
Yeah.
I want to excel in school, and I really like writing, so I want to start reading and writing a lot more, just like fun essays. And
do you have any certain books that are your favorite or anything?
I really like the book Out of My Mind. I read it like 5 times.
Is that fiction or nonfiction?
I think it's not. Actually, it's fiction.
Okay.
But it's like realistic fiction.
Right. Just a book you really related to?
Yeah, I didn't relate to it because it's about a girl who's in a wheelchair and she can't talk or walk.
Ooh.
But she had to overcome a lot of barriers and prove other people wrong, and like she had to prove to other people that she was like worthy of being on the school's team for like academics and all that stuff, and she like was very smart and like won like. But
she had to prove it.
Yeah.
So it's probably relatable in that sense.
Yeah, but like, obviously not like the physical aspect.
Right.
So I've read that book like 5 times. I read it the first time when I was in 3rd grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's a powerful book.
It's very powerful.
That's pretty good. That's pretty awesome. Sometimes those like books can be really, really powerful. It's really speak to you.
Yeah, and I like Lord of the Flies.
Lord of the Flies.
We read that in sophomore year, and it was a school book for English, but I really liked it because it was like.
I get that.
Yeah.
What's that one about? I can't remember.
It was like the kids, and they're like they crashed a plane on the island.
Oh, and the kids all have to take over. Like they start.
They like have their own little clans, and they like divide up into groups, and it's like a monarchy.
It's basically like a.
It's like a replica of like World War II, I think, or something like that. It was like...
It's commentary on humans, like what would happen if just a bunch of random kids like had to come up with their own system of like how do we structure society, and they... I should look into that. I've heard of that book before, actually.
Yeah, there's a lot of symbolism that goes behind it, so I really like symbolism. I try to like correlate things and like see if they coexist and this and that. So I just find books that kind of have that theme.
Right. Have you ever heard of that book? I think it's Watership Down.
No,
like the one with all the rabbits.
I've never heard of that book.
Oh, okay, it's super good. Yeah, it's like a war, but it's like they're like all rabbits. I don't know. Yeah, it's like funny, but I'm sure it's like super deeper than that. Like it probably has to do with like real wars and stuff. But like the characters in the book are like these rabbits, and they like they go to like break away to start their like I can't remember how it goes, but I think there's a Netflix series too that was really good, and they have to like protect their stuff, and the other rabbits come to try to like steal all their stuff, and it gets to be this war, and they're all killing each other and stuff. It's crazy. But it's super good.
I'm going to look into that.
Yeah, actually, you might actually like it. Like, I'm saying, like, for a children's book, like, it was, like... And I think they did an old cartoon back in the day, too.
Oh, really?
But I think Netflix has, like, a newer version of it, and I think it was really good. But it was one of those things you read when you were a kid, and it was, like... You know, it's like a children's book, but it's, like, this is, like, way deeper than...
Yeah.
This is way deeper than a children's book.
It's so funny, because, like, I was looking through TikTok, and... There was a TikTok that said Toy Story 2 showed me what real or fake Friends was. Yeah. And they, like, showed how all the toys were getting dumped in the garbage disposal. And then that bear, like, tricked them and, like, ran away. And
that one is horrible. That bear is so evil.
Yeah, so I, like, was looking, and I was just like, wow, like, all of these movies and books that we grew up with, like, they actually have... meaning behind them. They're not just for your entertainment, but they have this underlining message that applies to you when you're older.
Right.
You think about it when you're older, and you're just like, wow, that's crazy.
Like, trust me, I grew up on Land Before Time. You ever seen Land Before Time?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God. Like, that one's like, it definitely makes you cry. Yeah, they're right. Children's stuff can be like crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, how were we watching that? Like, I know that Toy Story movie you're talking about, like, and doesn't that find out like that bear? It was like she stopped playing with him or something.
Exactly.
And he was emotionally.
I haven't watched that movie since I was like 6, but I still remember.
Deep stuff for a kids show though. Like, yeah, because it's like he gets hurt, and so he goes on to hurt other people.
Yeah, at the daycare or something.
It's like it's what happens. Like,
wait, now I remember. He like put up this like fake front that he was super nice, but then he turned evil.
Right, he was all nice out in the front.
Yeah,
but when you
welcoming
find out
them to the daycare. But then when they tried to leave, he wouldn't let them leave. Now I remember it.
Yep. So if you just keep going with all his rules, everything's fine.
Yeah, but obviously. But
then they wanted to get out. Yeah, I remember when they find out what's actually going on, it gets really sinister, like really fast.
Oh yeah, because there's the caterpillar room and the butterfly room in the daycare. And
which one's the bad one?
The caterpillar room was the bad one because that's where all the preschoolers were that stuck the toys up their noses.
Oh, that's right. So that's where you go if you're not following his rules.
And then like the butterfly was like where Ken and Barbie were, and it's for the older kids that play with you nicely.
It's the nice room.
Oh my God! Now I'm like getting flashbacks.
I need to watch that. That's a good movie.
I haven't watched it in 12 years, and I just remembered that. Like.
That is crazy. Yeah, it's weird how your memory works. Sometimes you start remembering stuff. Yeah. It's like, what? I didn't even know I still had that in there. What about so like you're young, do you like Wednesday?
I love that show.
That show was so dope.
2 days.
I know, I'm like, am I the only adult male? No, I think there's a lot of people that liked it. It was so good.
I was so sad when Tyler was the Hyde.
I know. Oh my God, spoiler alert. You just ruined it for everybody. Dude, I know, because he was like so cool.
Yeah.
And like you're like, oh, you know, it's like heartthrob, and then she's with him, and
yeah, and then she like got that like vision and then bolted.
Yeah, she had those visions. Yeah, I kind of thought it was going to be him, but it's like...
I did too. You have those like little...
I thought it was going to be him, but I didn't realize it was going to be where he was actually evil. I thought it was going to be like, well, I don't like doing this. It just happens to me. And then when you find out, like, he goes, was she in jail or something? He goes and he says, I like doing it and all that stuff.
And then he was like, how does it feel to lose or something like that?
Yeah, he turns out he's like super evil.
And then when the teacher with the bangs was actually like Laurel or...
yeah, that's the OG Wednesday. So she was like Wednesday from those movies from the 90s, and then now she plays the teacher, and I did not see that one coming. I kind of guessed the Tyler thing, but I did not see that.
I kind of knew something was off about that teacher, though, with the glasses.
Yeah, she's too nice.
No, I knew it, but I didn't think that she was that evil. I just thought that she was, like, a Hyde or, like, a monster. I didn't know that she was the one behind all of it. Like,
no, she was, like, the actual...
The one injecting...
The main...
Yeah.
Yeah, she was the one that wanted to bring that dude back and all that. That was a crazy show.
I would watch it again, but it's too addicting. Have you seen Ginny and Georgia?
No, but I'm like, what is it? It's like number one.
It's the best show ever.
It's the best show ever. That's why it's number one this week on Netflix.
Yeah.
Dang, maybe I should watch it.
Watch the first season first.
Is it cheesy?
No.
No.
It's actually like real life stuff.
Oh, okay. I mean, I like cheesy stuff. Like I was saying, I love the Rocky movies and stuff. But...
It's like cheesy and real life at the same time.
Yeah.
There's like certain cringy scenes that, you know, like you see those scenes and you just like kind of cringe.
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, but it's a good
I saw it's number one. It's got to be sort of good.
Mm-hmm.
God, what else did I watch on there that was super good lately? I don't know. I can't remember. Oh, I like that Midnight Club show. Did you ever see that?
No, I haven't.
That's pretty good. It's called Midnight Club. It's like, I don't know. Like, it's kind of sad because, like, they all, basically, it's a bunch of kids. They all have, like, terminal cancer.
Oh.
And they get sent to this, like, place where, like, basically it's, like, a nice place to go that you can, like, live out the last days. But then all this, like, paranormal shit starts happening.
Oh, I wouldn't like that. I hate like, paranormal stuff.
Oh, there's some, like, ghosts and shit.
I'm terrified of ghosts.
Oh, so no ghost stories, nothing like that. But so, like, to hang out at night, they, like, all at midnight, they go downstairs and they, like, tell each other scary stories.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
I don't like that.
Okay, don't watch that one then. But yeah, that was pretty good. But yeah, like you said, it's like I try not to watch too much stuff, but when I'm doing cardio, I gotta watch something.
Yeah, I only watch TV because my only free time to actually like lay down and like go on my phone is like from 11 p.m. until like 2 a.m.
Right.
So that's when I watch all my shows.
Right, and I'm kind of like, so you're kind of like doing this thing where your biggest goals are school, and then they're, you know, training, this thing you're passionate about. It's not drinking, partying, all this other stuff.
I've never drank before.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing.
Because, like, obviously it runs in my family, and I know that addiction, like...
So if, like, your only vice is watching some, like Wednesday on Netflix, that's not that bad. You know, like, yeah. Maybe I'm just trying to justify my own, like, that I like to watch some of that stuff. But I do think it's better than, like... You know, as long as you have to have some time to relax.
Yeah,
you know,
it's good to have that balance. And, like, obviously I see my friends every day.
That's a good thing, too.
Yeah.
You said you're putting a lot of time in with your family, friends.
And, like, I see my family every day. Like, I don't live with my parents, but, like, on the weekends or, like, a couple times a week, I'll go sleep at their house.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like, my mom, she works in Tacoma because she has a restaurant. So she's
always, hell
like,
yeah.
very
That's cool.
yeah, so she's very tired at the end of the day. So it's like, you know, I'll see her in the morning. I let her go to bed. She'll always text me and she'll be like, are you coming over or are you staying at your place? And I'll let her know so she can go to bed.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, it sounds like it's going to be a super exciting year for you.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, you got a lot of stuff planned and you're just out there killing it. So I think this will probably be a good spot to stop at. We did about 2 hours.
Really? That went by fast.
It goes by so fast.
Yeah.
Like last time I had Mark on here with...
They were here for 3 hours.
3 hours, and
I was listening to the podcast on Spotify, and I was just like, this is 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah, it flew by. It was pretty fun because, like, I don't know, Sam says some funny shit on there. Like, I was like, you guys need to come back, like, at least once every couple months because that was some really funny stuff on there. But I do appreciate you being here. That's
thank
super.
You for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, and it's like very impressive getting your pro card at such a young age and just being so passionate, dedicated, disciplined at your age and like knowing what you want. And I think you're going to be super successful. So
thank you. That means a lot.
I appreciate it. And thanks again for being here. And thank you everybody for listening. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out.